All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this afternoon's live commentary coverage of today's DuraMax Texas Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas for the third round of the NASCAR Cup Series season in 2026. Our first non-drafting oval, our first road course race of the season. And it's going to be a lot of fun to see if Tyler Reddick can go for 3 wins in a row. Well, we have 6 different winners in the first 6 races at COTA in the NASCAR Cup Series as Shane Van Gisbergen and Connor Zilisch, couple heavy favorites in this one. A couple newer drivers, obviously, to the Cup Series who have not won at this racetrack or had an opportunity to really win at this racetrack at the Cup level. It's going to be a lot of fun. They're starting mid-pack. We've got some heavy hitters up towards the front, like Reddick, who is a former winner here. Another couple of former winners starting in the top 10 with the likes of Chase Elliott, Christopher Bell, and William Byron. Ryan Blaney, who hasn't won a road course in a few years. Great in practice yesterday, second fastest overall, qualifies fourth. Ross Chastain, another former COTA winner from 2022, starting on the front row with Reddick. It's going to be a great race here today. I think COTA last season was one of the better road course races of the season, if not the best. And looking to bring you all the action. 95 laps will be our scheduled distance for this one. We'll get more into the pre-race side of things once we get through the trivia for today's stream, as we usually do on the live commentary streams. So we'll get ready to do that here in a moment. Quick shout out to those of you watching the stream right now. We got Frank Powers, Bam Hall, Duddlebug5, Jerry Marty, Marcus Villarreal, James Williams, and many others. As I see in the chat, I obviously tried to shout you out as much as I possibly can. Gonna pull the chat up on my phone right now, so I have you there. And today's trivia quiz is going to be all-time NASCAR Cup Series winners. We have not done this yet for this series. We did do a truck and an O'Reilly series, but we have not done the all-time race wins list for the Cup Series. So this is any driver who has ever won a race, just one race in the NASCAR Cup Series level, and we'll see what we can do. It does give us whether they're a champion or not, so that's kind of nice, and how many wins they have had in their career. 20 minutes, 206. We'll see how many we can get. I definitely think we can easily hit triple digits. I don't know what I got on this quiz last year when we tried it early in the season, so I'm not really sure what the benchmarker to beat there is. We have gotten the average score or better for every quiz we've done so far this year, so we'll try to keep that going. We're going to start off with Richard Petty. He's got the most wins all time. David Pearson's number 2. Jeff Gordon is number 3. Jimmy Johnson is up there towards the top of the list. And we got Bobby Johns with the Jimmy Johnson side of things. So Jimmy Johnson, Cale Yarborough, and Darrell Waltrip, if I could spell. Yarborough. There we go. And then Waltrip, that'll be Michael and Darrell, of course. Bobby Allison is up there on the list. Dale Earnhardt Sr., which will get Junior because of the same last name. My spelling is terrible today. Earnhardt. So that gives us Junior and Senior. Denny Hamlin is up there on the list. Kyle Busch is up there on the list, and we're going to get Kurt Busch with that as well. Rusty Wallace is on the list. We're going to get Bubba Wallace in there as well. Ned Jarrett has 50 all-time wins. We'll get Dale Jarrett with that as well, his son. Benny Parsons, I know, has a decent amount of wins. Matt Kenseth is going to be on the left side of that. Tony Stewart. Kevin Harvick has 60 all-time wins. Byron, that's going to be William Byron, Red Byron. Got Tim Flock, Bob Flock, and I believe Fonty if he ever won a race. Carl Edwards. He's not quite going to be on the left. Okay, he has 28 wins. I wasn't sure exactly how many he had. Fireball Roberts is going to be on there. Joe Weatherly. Just trying to get the all-time guys first. Bill Elliott, Chase Elliott. We've got Bill Rexford, former champ. I know he doesn't have a lot of wins. Just trying to get the champions and as many of the guys on the higher end of the win total first. Let's go Lund. Tiny Lund. Somebody say Wiggins in the chat. All right. Who else have we not named yet? Who could go on the left side of our leaderboard? Pete Hamilton, Bobby Hamilton each have 4 wins. I know Sterling Marlin's got 10. McMurray. I think we just got to start listing guys off because we're wasting too much time here. Montoya, Ambrose. Probably not the right strategy. Van Gisbergen, of course. Jimmy Spencer. Greg Biffle. David Reagan. Trevor Bayne. Elliott Sadler. Ricky Rudd. Harry Gant. Ernie Irvin. Derek Cope. Mark Martin. Johnny Benson. Ryan Newman. Casey Kane. Jeremy Mayfield. Ryan Vickers. Jerry Nadeau. Mario and John Andretti. AJ Foyt. He did not win one. Paul Menard. The Burton brothers, Ward, Jeff, Harrison as well. The Labonte brothers, Terry and Bobby. Herb Thomas, no, not my mom. My mom, my mom is not on the list. Chris Busher, yes. Jeez. Come on, chat. Busher, Keselowski, Logano, Blaney, Larson, Bowman, Allmendinger, Stenhouse, Lake Speed. We've got Phil Parsons with Benny Parsons. We do have Parsons already. Let's see here. Thomas. Do have the Biff already. Ricky Craven. He didn't win a race. The Bakers, of course, Buddy and Buck Baker. Bodine, Jeff Bodine, Brett Bodine. Bobby Isaac. Christopher Bell. Tyler Reddick. Alan Kulwicki, another former champ. Eric Jones. Parnelli Jones. Pascal. Rex White. Tim Richmond. Neil Bonnet. Brickhouse. Richard Brickhouse. Now, Scott Wimmer's not on the list. Eric Almirola. Smith. Justin Haley. Wendell Scott. Got 107 of 206 already. Still got 12 and a half minutes to go. That guy with my last name from back in the 60s. Always remember that one. Got Schneider. Morgan Shepherd, yes. Morgan Shepherd. Joe Ruttman. He's not on the list. Ron Bouchard. Curtis Turner. Daniel Suarez. Chastain. There's got to be a lot more active drivers I'm missing. Especially skipping around the way we did. Cindric. Austin Cindric. Hillen. Bobby Hillen Jr. Billy Kramer, Jimmy Q. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Connor Burke as well. Frank Powers, Roz. Yeah, now I do have Stenhouse already. There's got to be some more active drivers that I've not named. McDowell. And then David Rudiman, because I always think of McDowell and Rudiman. The same. Clint Boyer. Austin Dillon. Cole Custer. I do have David Reagan already. Jeff Green's not on the list. Kenny Schrader. I misspelled Harry Gann earlier. No, I got him. Might have right away. I put Frank. Got a Larry Frank in there. Gonna put Frank Lynn. See if that was gonna pop up. Got a freebie. I'll take it. I do have Jerry Nadeau already. Casey Mears. Mike Skinner didn't win a points race. Chase Briscoe is another active driver I did not have. Denny Hamlin, I do have. There's got to be some more active drivers I've missed. It's like when I think I've circled around to them all. Josh Berry, yep, there's another active driver. Joe Nemechek. 4 wins for Joe. I do have the Bush brothers. I've got Eric Jones. Ross Cunningham, thanks for tuning in. I've got the Biff. Think more old. Speed. I do have Elliott. Both of them. I've got Jeremy Mayfield already. Got Ambrose. Got the Allisons. Appreciate you guys naming them, though. Yeah, just keep throwing names out there. Trickle, I don't think, has won a race. Nope. But do I have Rutherford? Nope. Okay, I do now. Johnny Rutherford. Dan Gurney. Got 128 of 206, 7.5 minutes to go. I think I put Irvin already. Yep, I do. I did put him. Montoya, I know I have. Obviously, yeah, we would have got Robbie Gordon with Jeff Gordon. Huh. Wilson. Dang it. This is where it gets tough. There's somebody with 34 wins I'm missing. Marvin Panch, that's who that is. Oh, that wasn't him, but I did not have him on the list yet. Who's got 34 wins all time? There's somebody with 26. Got 3 drivers with 20 or more wins. Roper. Yes. Jim Roper. I do have Foyt. I've got Bodine. Brian Scott's not on the list. I do have Sadler. Steve Park, yes. Forgot about Park. Got 131 of 206. We're doing really, really well. I mean, we were never going to get a perfect score on this quiz. We had a perfect score once this year, but this is not the kind of quiz to get it. I do have Fireball Roberts. Somebody with the last name like Jackson. Nope. I do have Casey Kane. I'm hitting the wall, guys. 131 of 206. I am blanking now. Just trying to think if I've gotten all of them from my lifetime as well as active drivers. I do have Derek Cope already, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Lenny Pond. Thank you, chat. Servakis? I don't know how to spell his name. I'm gonna pause it and look at it. Emmanuel Servakis. Don't ask me how I remember that. Servakis. Speedy Thompson. That's who we were missing there. Still missing 26 wins and 34. Neither of them are champions. So that kind of, like, just trying to think of, like, greatest drivers to never win a championship. Oh, no, the 34 does have one championship. Who's a champion we're missing? Hmm. Childress, I don't think, won a race. I tried. Truex, oh my goodness. Martin Truex Jr. How did I miss that? Thank you, Barb. Oh, man. Well, I did not get all of them for my lifetime. Regan Smith. Oh, I did put him already. When you think you've gotten them all. My brain was thinking he didn't have that many wins. Got Billy Wade. Thank you, chat. 137 of 206. In the last roughly 5 minutes, we've only had 6 names. Hitting an absolute wall. Oh, sweet. Thanks, Barbara. I'll pass it on. Coming in clutch with the Martin Truex Jr. Pull. Right when I thought I had everybody that was damn near active for my lifetime. Daryl Derringer. I think it's D.I. Derringer. Okay. I knew that wasn't spelled right in chat. Sarah, thanks for tuning in. Checking in from COTA. Have a good day today. Jojo, thanks for tuning in. It was a late decision, Jojo. I'm struggling here. I don't know if there's anybody else. Visser? No. I'm also trying to think, like, would have Elton Sawyer have won a race? Nope. Same with like Randy LaJoy, but I think that's Sam Ard. Those are all just O'Reilly series. I'm curious to see who we missed. There's got to be some names on there that I'd usually think of. We're still missing 26 wins. I'm glad we have all the champions now. Martin Truex Jr. would have been painful if I didn't get that. 26 wins. Oh, Wally Dallenbach. No. He's not on here. He's not on here. I did not name him yet, though. He does not have a win. Good old Wally's World. All right. This is always interesting to see who I missed. Fred Lorenzen. Oh my gosh. Former Daytona 500 champion. 26 wins. That's who we were missing. I didn't put Leroy Yarborough. I usually do. Cotton Owens, Paul Goldsmith, Dick Hutcherson, Dick Rathman. A lot of... That was going to sound so wrong. Dick Linder. A lot of dicks. We missed a lot of them. Bob Wellborn, Jim Reed, Marshall Teague, Dave Marcus. Okay, I usually get him on these lists. Charlie Glotzback, Eddie Gray, Lloyd Dane, Eddie Pagan, Nelson Stacy, Glenn Wood. I almost put Wood as well because I was on the line of Childress and I was like trying to think of owners that might have won a race. Glenn Wood would have been one. Bill Blair, Frank Mundy, Gwen Staley, Johnny Beauchamp. I might have been able to get that one. James Hilton, Ray Elder, AJ Keller, Elmo Langley, Danny Letner, Bill Myers, Jimmy Pardue, Marvin Porter, Tom Pistone, Danny Weinberg, Art Watts, Chuck Stevenson, John Soares, Buddy Schumann, Greg Sachs, I maybe could have gotten. That was a Talladega win. Leon Sales, Earl Ross, John Rostick, Jody Ridley, Shorty Rollins, Bill Norton, Norm Nelson, another Dick Passwater, Lloyd Moore, Sam McQuaig, Johnny Mance, Paul Lewis, Harold Kite, Jim Herchbees, John Klepper. That's Kuiper. That's an I. I, not an L. John Kuiper. Luke Bagora, Mark Donahue. Maybe could have got Donahue because I was getting some of those open wheel guys from back in that day and I skipped him. Joe Eubanks, Danny Graves, Royce Haggerty, Neil Cole, Jim Cook, Bob Burdick, and Marvin Burke. Another Dick Brooks. We went by first name. I could have put Dick in there and I would have gotten like 5 of them. Johnny Allen, Bill Amick, Gober Sosabe. Earl Balmer, if I didn't state him already. We did get the average score. 67% was our score. Average 51%. 138 of 206. Pretty good collectively in the chat. Appreciate everybody playing along with our quiz here today. We're at the bottom of the hour. The race is going to be beginning here very shortly. And we are about to get into the national anthem. So I'll let you listen into that as we carry on with our live coverage of today's race.
County EMS Color Guard presents our nation's colors. Here to offer today's invocation, please welcome Austin Travis County EMS Clinical Specialist, Tim Morrison.
Would you bow your heads with me, please? Father God, we thank you for this day and for bringing us together at this track. We ask for your protection over every driver, give them steady hands, sharp focus, and bring them safely to the finish line. We thank you for these fans and for the freedom to gather and enjoy this great sport. Lord, watch over our first responders and military as they serve and protect as you do us. And above all, we give you glory for your Son, Jesus Christ, and for the salvation won through his sacrifice on the cross. Let today be filled with safety, sportsmanship, and unity, and let all we do honor you. In your mighty name, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome from the City of Austin Public Safety Strength and Conditioning Coach, Sebastian Olave.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets' red glare, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land and the
All right, almost race time, ladies and gentlemen. We'll go over the starting lineup of today's race here in a second. Just got to pull that up on my phone, and then we'll get going. I got to get my fantasy team in, too. That might have locked already. I might have been a little late on that. I forgot. There's no way. It probably locked already. Fantasy Live. Oh, it doesn't lock till 3:45. Oh, we still got like 10 minutes. All right. Well, I'll show you that right now then before we get into the starting lineup for today's race. We'll go over the starting lineup once they get the command to fire engines. So log on to NASCAR.com. You can join the mobile app, join on the mobile app or the NASCAR.com website to the KRC League. That's our fantasy league here on the channel. Fantasy Live, there you have it. So again, KRC League, KRC in all capital letters, space, capital L on League. The team you see here is the team I had for both Daytona and Atlanta for the first two races of the season. So that's obviously going to change. And for today, the drivers who I think are going to run well competing for a win. Tyler Reddick's got a very good shot of going for 3 in a row. He has scored a top 10 in all 5 races at COTA in the NASCAR Cup Series. He's one of only 2 drivers to do that. He has 4 top 5s, the best average finish of any active driver here, and he's on the pole here today, which is going to be huge. I'm not safe with Ryan Blaney right now, and I've used him twice because he's a great drafting oval racer. I'm not going to use him. I'm going to take Chase Briscoe. He ran very well on the road courses last year. He's not won on a road course in his Cup career, but he's been close. Michael McDowell was very fast in practice. Chase Elliott's kind of a good guy to take on this type of racetrack. Christopher Bell was the winner here a season ago, so give me Christopher Bell. I'm not safe on Kyle Busch for today. I think I am going to take McDowell, and he's probably going to be my garage driver for right now. So we're going to keep McDowell in the garage to start. Former road course winner in the Next Gen era. I think I've got to go Chase Elliott. Even though he has not won in the Next Gen era on a road course, he's still very, very consistent. And Alex Bowman scored a top 10 in every race. And I want to take Bowman, but he qualified mid-pack. I trust Byron a little bit better, even though he was lacking some speed in qualifying yesterday, qualifying 10th. Usually we see him up in the top 5. And practice, he was outside the top 10 as well. Between Shane Van Gis, you know what? I just realized I don't have SVG in my lineup. I got to get him in there somewhere. Oh, man, who do we plug him in for? I'm not going to take Connor Zilic today. Probably could. Do I take Byron out? I'm going to take William Byron out to put SVG in. I just realized I didn't have SVG in my lineup, so I had to do that. I feel like I can use Byron elsewhere. I'm going to have to roll with the team I've got right now. I'll take Bell over Byron. I do think Byron's a slightly better road course racer. They're probably both going to be really, really good. Byron for Elliott or McDowell? McDowell's kind of a stretch. This is very difficult. This is a very difficult decision to have to make here. I just know I'm going to use Byron more elsewhere than maybe some of these other drivers. We're going to roll with what I've got. I think SVG beats Connor Zilic today. Head-to-head Chastain versus Busch. Give me Chastain. We didn't see the speed out of Kyle Busch in qualifying yesterday, starting 30th versus 2nd. It's very tough on a road course. I think Tyler Reddick's got a real shot to win 3 in a row, and I did not put Byron on my team. So I'm going to take Reddick and Briscoe Gibbs. Give me Briscoe, most consistent on the road courses lately. So there you go. You saw me fill out my fantasy team last minute here on the channel. They are back from commercial on your local Fox affiliate, which is visually where you can watch today's race. So if you have not tuned in yet, definitely be sure to do so. And obviously we have full flag-to-flag coverage right here for you on the channel as well. 150 likes is our like goal for these live commentary streams for the Cup Series. We have hit the like goal for every Cup Series race stream so far this year, so be sure to hit that like button so we can keep that streak alive. Right now we are at 32. Race hasn't quite yet begun. Uncommon Truth. Thanks for tuning in, Joe Rochester. Jimmy Q, Troy the Great. I don't think I shouted any of you guys out yet. Ross J. Cunningham. Barbara, thanks for tuning in. Many, many others. Wayne Martin. Bond 1771. Billy Kramer. The usual suspects. All right. Now I can pull up the starting lineup on my phone and get that about ready to go. I also, before the race begins, need to pull up a chat so I can ask you all who you think is going to win today's race. And that chat poll will close at the end of stage 2. So I'll get the poll going right now. Who will win at COTA today? Go Tyler Reddick. Here's the command to fire engines while I'm doing that.
At Relodyne, Eric Royce.
All right now, Austin. On behalf of DuraMax, Relodyne, it's my honor to say, drivers, start your engine!
All right, 3 favorites for the race win today. We got Shane Van Gisbergen, Tyler Reddick. Obviously, others going to be an option. And I'll put Chase Briscoe in there as the 3rd option. My pick to win today's race, give me Tyler Reddick. I think he's going to do it. I'm buying into the hype. I think he's going to win 3 races in a row to start the season. SVG just has not looked like himself in the Cup Series this weekend. Even at times yesterday in the O'Reilly race, he scared me, but he still ended up pulling off the victory. Here today, though, I don't know. I'm going to lean on Tyler Reddick to win today's race. He won here back in 2023. This is the 3rd time he's qualified on the pole at COTA in the 6 races here. So this is, again, one of his better racetracks. I'm taking Tyler Reddick for the win. Nobody has ever won the first 3 races to start the season, so that would be huge for him and astronomical of a points lead that he would have if he is to win the first 3 races of the season. Another talking point for today's race is exactly how are the stages going to play out with the new NASCAR points format and wins not meaning a guaranteed spot in the playoffs. I don't think you're going to see as many drivers sacrificing stage points today. We saw that in the O'Reilly Series race yesterday. The trucks didn't have live competitive pit stops, so they were all taking their stage points when they could, no matter what. But the only drivers who were really sacrificing for a better race finish result yesterday were the guys like Connor Zilisch, like Shane Van Gisbergen, who were Cup regulars down in O'Reilly, not racing for points. There was no reason for them to have to do that. So there might be some that think they can absolutely win this race today and put all their bread into one basket, but I don't think that you're going to see as many as what we've seen in years past. So stage points are going to mean a lot here. And for the sake of like Tyler Reddick, maybe he goes in for the stage points to continue to grow that points lead he's got, knowing he does have 2 wins already. That team could be going all in for the 3 straight wins as well, because nobody else has done that to start the season. We've only seen one driver win 3 consecutive races since 2022 in the Next Gen era, and that was last season when Christopher Bell was able to do it relatively early in the year, races 2 through 4, but nobody's won the first 3. And Bell, obviously, one of those wins came right here at COTA. So Tyler Reddick, another Toyota driver, might I add, trying to go for the 3-peat. Cars are rolling out onto the racetrack now as they leave pit road. So here is the starting lineup for today's DuraMax Texas Grand Prix. Tyler Reddick, as mentioned already, on the pole, going for 3 wins in a row after winning the first 2 races of the 2026 season. Alongside him, the 2022 COTA winner, Ross Chastain. And row number 2 will be Chase Briscoe going for his first COTA top 10, and Ryan Blaney, the pole sitter here in 2022. In row number 3, Chase Elliott, the inaugural COTA winner in 2021, and Michael McDowell, as McDowell was fastest in practice yesterday, should be pretty quick here today. AJ Allmendinger, COTA best of 5th in 2021, and Christopher Bell, the 2025 race winner from a season ago. In row 5 will be Ty Gibbs, who has a COTA best finish of 3rd in 2024, and William Byron, who is the 2024 race winner. Zane Smith making his 3rd COTA start, along with Carson Hocevar, who finished 13th in this race a season ago. In row 7, Shane Van Gisbergen going for 6 straight road course wins in the NASCAR Cup Series. That would tie Jeff Gordon for the most all-time today. He starts 13th alongside Chris Buescher, who has 3 straight top 10s at COTA entering today. Kyle Larson, the 2021 runner-up on the inside of row number 8, and his teammate Alex Bowman, the runner-up in 2022, to the outside. Todd Gilliland alongside Cole Custer will make up row number 9. Todd Gilliland finished 10th in this race a season ago, and Custer making his 4th start at the track. Denny Hamlin and Joey Logano, a couple of veterans in the series in row number 10. Hamlin 2 COTA stage wins in the Next Gen era, and Joey Logano has a COTA best of 3rd in the pre-Next Gen era in 2021. Ty Dillon, Josh Berry are going to make up row number 11. As for Berry, this will be his 3rd COTA start. In row 12, Daniel Suarez and Bubba Wallace. Wallace won a stage in this race a season ago. Connor Zilisch, who made his debut in the Cup Series in this race last season, will be making his 2nd race at the racetrack, looking to make it longer than he did last year when he got in an early accident, finished dead last. Brad Keselowski, who is starting this race alongside Zilisch in row number 13, is scheduled to start the race. Remember, he has a broken femur. This is going to be a much more grueling racetrack on that leg with having to use both the brake and the gas. We don't usually see a lot of brake at Atlanta and at Daytona, so he was able to fulfill the entirety of both of those races. By starting today's race, he is eligible for points. The standby driver for Brad Keselowski, if they have to make a driver change, is Joey Hand. In row number 14, Jesse Love making his Cup Series road course debut alongside Austin Dillon, who has a COTA best of 6th in 2022. Ryan Prix and Kyle Busch will make up row number 15. Busch led the most laps in this race last year, and his best finish is runner-up in 2023. In row 16, John Hunter Nemechek and Riley Herbst. Herbst making his second COTA start. Austin Cindric, not Austin Dillon. I might have said Dillon a little bit ago, by the way, on the row would have been 14 side of things, because Austin Dillon is on the inside of row 17 alongside Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Noah Gragson finished 8th in this race last year. He started deep in the field on the inside of row 18, and Eric Jones will be to the outside. Cody Ware will line up all by himself in 37th, last row, row 19 on the field. 37 cars on the starting grid for today's race. Our scheduled distance, 95 laps, with stages 1 being 20 laps, stage 2, I believe, 25 laps, and then we will go the final 40 in the final stage. They will not have to pit for fuel or tire purposes in both stage 1 and stage 2, but in stage 3 they will. And again, you will see some sacrificing of stage points today by some, but not as many as years past because of the points change. It's my prediction, at least, and that's also, again, what we saw yesterday in the O'Reilly race here. Irina Sayre, welcome into the stream, just tuning in. Earl Arnold Jr., same to you. Late notice on the stream this weekend, so greatly appreciate those that are tuning in here today. I apologize for the late notice as of a few days ago, but we are back and better than ever here today, regardless, as we continue our quest, by the way, to 7,000 subs on the channel. I haven't highlighted that once in the stream today, but if you're not subscribed, be sure to do so. We came into the stream 17 subs shy of 7,000. We have hit 7 more. We are 10 shy of 7,000 just before the drop of the green flag. So if you are watching and are not subscribed, definitely be sure to do so. Helps the channel out a ton. And hit the like button as well, because that helps too. Early voting poll for who you think is going to win today's race based off the pre-race. 25 votes have been casted. 56% of those 25 votes are taking Shane Van Gisbergen for the win. My vote, Tyler Reddick to win the race today. Only 12% of you think he is going to go for 3 in a row. And somebody other than Briscoe, SVG, and Reddick at 32%. Kind of keeping up with SVG a bit. Chase Briscoe, 0 votes out of 26 now. None of you think Chase Briscoe is going to win. I know he has not won on a road course in the Cup Series, but remember last year, he finished second twice. He has come close, and he qualified third. He looks fast again this weekend. He's going to be an underdog, if you will, by way of road courses because he hasn't won on one yet, but again, he has been knocking on the door of doing so in the last calendar year, as he is continuously getting better at his craft at this kind of racetrack. And it's not a surprise because he did win a handful of O'Reilly races on road courses back in his time in that series. Lioness, thanks for tuning in. 24 is going to win. That would fall under other. Joey Hand is a good backup to have. Probably be a starter next year. Could be. We've seen Joey Hand compete in next-gen races at COTA with Rick Ware Racing in years past, but he is the standby driver today for Brad Keselowski. Brad said he's going to attempt to run the full race, but obviously Joey Hand will be there. If Brad is feeling too much discomfort and has to get out of the car, it'll be a story to watch. And that would likely happen during a caution period, which could be the end of stage 1 before we get a yellow. We only had 2 cautions for incident in the 65-lap O'Reilly race yesterday, and stage 1 went caution-free, and that was also 20 laps. So may very well see this go caution-free to start as well. Not a surprise. We don't see a lot of cautions on road courses. Field's more spaced out. NASCAR tries to give them time to, in case of a spin, kind of circle back, get back on track. As long as they're obviously off the racing line and there's no debris left behind. Obviously, that can cause issues the following lap by the leaders. A lot of history is up at stake today. You got Shane Van Gisbergen trying to go for 6 straight road course wins. We had 6 road courses last year, and that's counting the street course at Chicago, of course. And he won the last 5. He has 6 career wins, all on road courses. He is an ace. He won yesterday in the O'Reilly race, so he's trying to go for the sweep in COTA this weekend. If you're tying Jeff Gordon in the sport of NASCAR in any statistical category, that is a feat in and of itself. Or for Tyler Reddick trying to do something that absolutely nobody has done before, that can be impressive in and of itself as well. Only 6 drivers have ever won the first 2 races of the season. Reddick, one of those 6. Trying to go for 3 in a row from the pole. 81 degrees ambient temperature today in Austin, Texas. 109-degree track temp. It's going to be hot and slick. Far warmer than any race we've had so far this season. Closest was Daytona in the low to mid 70s. Fuel window 34 to 36 laps. And they will be going green this time by. JoJo going for Willie B as well. It's a good pick. Honestly, I really wanted him on my fantasy team, and the reason why I took Chase Elliott over him is because I know I'm not going to use Elliott as much as Byron. So I wanted to see if there was like a lag in the pre-race just so I wasn't too far behind. The thumbnail on the race on Hulu is showing, I think it's a Daytona race from a long time ago. Because that paint scheme in the Wood Brothers 21 was like an Elliott Sadler 21 car, like a Ricky Rudd from like the early 2000s. I don't know why the thumbnail is from a race that long ago. And at not the track that is COTA, like they could have used one that's more recent. It was so odd. All right. Toyota pace car coming to pit road. A Toyota that's dominated this season. Going to lead us to the green. How about that? Alternate restart zone is just on the entry to turn 20 is when it opens up. And you got until the exit of the corner to get going. Tyler Reddick is going to wait till the exit to get going. Green flag is in the air. We are underway in Circuit of the Americas. Round 3 of the NASCAR Cup Series 2026 season. Packed crowd on the front stretch for this race. A field of them down towards turn 1 as the entire field rushes their way in. A lot of 3 wide battling, relatively clean all the way through the pack. Chase Briscoe able to get by a counterpart of Toyota for the race lead out of turn 2 and continue on with the lead through the S's. So despite Reddick being on the pole, he couldn't hold on to the lead for longer than a lap. One car already going wide, but getting back on course before missing the apex of the S's. That was Ty Dillon. And another lockup with a little bit of contact towards the back of the pack. Right around Brad Keselowski and a couple others. Three wide, Carson Hocevar, AJ Allmendinger, William Byron battling for 9th. That was entering the stadium section. 4 wide to the inside, Shane Van Gisbergen being aggressive early. Not wanting to waste any time to get to the front. Reddick trying to put a battle to Briscoe for the lead already on the opening lap after Briscoe took it away from Reddick. They've been side by side for 2 consecutive corners. Reddick on the inside through the horseshoe. And entering turn 19, he's going to sit back in line behind him so he wasn't going to be on the outside and at risk of losing another spot to Chastain. Chase Briscoe should be able to hold on as he gaps Reddick through turn 19. Chastain putting pressure on Reddick into turn 20 for 2nd. There he goes. To the inside. No contact, clean. Reddick might have clipped the grass on corner exit. Chastain with a side draft is going to get a great pull and have the inside lane into turn 1. Briscoe leads the opening lap of the race. Chastain sails it off into the corner, takes Reddick's line away. Reddick with the crossover, over-under move. And he's not going to be able to pull back alongside Chastain. He'll hold on for 2nd. And Chastain is putting a lot of pressure early on Briscoe after taking away from that 2nd spot. Ryan Blaney, a few car lengths to try to catch Reddick himself from 4th place. See if Tyler Reddick can settle in at all here. Brakes locking up in the back half of the top 10. Side-by-side battle around SVG and AJ Allmendinger. That would be for 9th. Single file line through most of the pack. SVG was able to make the pass in turn 6B, and now Byron opened up in turn 12 to get to the inside of AJ, and AJ just keeps locking his tires up. Got to be careful not to flat spot a tire. Make the early trip down to pit road. He's going to lose all of his track position after a decent qualifying effort yesterday. But he's definitely struggling to find a rhythm. Not only Van Gisbergen got around him, but Byron a couple corners later does the same. Byron's got a good guy to try to follow through the pack of SVG. Van Gisbergen up 4 positions in the first just over a lap and a half. And they'll be 2 laps in this time by the line. Briscoe has led the first 2 laps of the race. Ross Chastain still sits in second. Tyler Reddick third. Ryan Blaney fourth. Chase Elliott rounds out the top 5 in fifth. Christopher Bell in 6th. Michael McDowell 7th. Ty Gibbs 8th. SVG in 9th. William Byron rounds out the top 10. Bell going for 5th on Chase Elliott, not Chastain. Bell on Elliott. Got to the inside in turn 1. Slight bobble off the curb by Elliott. Might have also let Bell go. Bell maybe outpacing him in these early laps. Chase not going to be too aggressive this early in the race. Will concede the position. So our defending race winner at COTA, Christopher Bell, already up to 5th despite qualifying 8th. It's one thing to pass cars. It's another thing to pass cars up in the front of the field. That really shows the strength in your race car, or the lack thereof, because Tyler Reddick is in danger of now losing 3rd to Ryan Blaney. All the speed Reddick showed yesterday, and either he's saving his tires for the long haul right now, or he has handling issues that he would not have had yesterday. Now, practice began at 9 a.m. local time yesterday. The race today started just shy of 3 p.m. local time. Track temp when we started practice was around 63 degrees yesterday. So even if you were fast on track with more grip in the overall racetrack yesterday in practice, might not necessarily mean you're set up for the race today. These teams know that. They try to advance their setups knowing that there's going to be quite a drastic temperature change. Usually the higher the temperature, the slicker the racetrack, less grip. Air pressure builds more quickly in the tires as it's warmer. Kind of a disadvantage, if you will, of having a morning practice session versus in the afternoon during what you would usually have your race time the following day. Chase Briscoe pulling away just a slight bit out to about an 0.8 of a second lead, the most breathing room he's had in these first 4 laps. Cycling his way through the S's yet again. Kind of a tight battle between the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th place cars. A few car lengths between them all. Chastain gaining a bit of ground into turn 6A on Chase Briscoe. Great corner by Blaney in turn 6B. Arced it off a lot sharper than Reddick, and that's going to set himself up into turn 12, And Reddick will let him go. Blaney hounded him for position on lap 3, couldn't get by him. Lap 4, he found a great opportunity, and he was alongside Reddick enough that Reddick realized he wasn't going to be able to hold him off any longer. Michael McDowell trying to get by Elliott, who's lost a couple spots already. That battle is for 6th. McDowell trying the outside through turns 13 and 14. Couldn't hang on. But if he was able to, that would have put him on the inside through 17, 18. A couple corners later. Just wasn't able to do it. Great road course racer is McDowell, one of his 2 career cup wins on a road course in Indianapolis a couple years ago. Showing a graphic on Fox that Ryan Blaney has 34 stage points, 2nd most all time at this racetrack. He's got 2 stage wins to go along with it. 3 stage runner-ups. He's a guy that likes to go for the points, but knowing he qualified 3rd, we'll see what the strategy tactic will be for that 12. Last year at Watkins Glen, late in the summer, he qualified on the pole, and he was one of only really 2 cars that was able to compete with Shane Van Gisbergen on speed for most of the day. He led quite a few laps as well. And then they had a pit road penalty, which kind of set him back, and he was still able to rally and get a top 5, but you wonder what could have been. Could he have challenged Van Gisbergen for the win that day? Blaney, if he stays mistake-free, might have a shot. Pit penalty last week for the 12 team set him behind and ultimately ended up with a 27th place finish by the end. Jesse Love battling with Ryan Prix. Looked like there was a bit of contact in the back half of the field. Jesse Love making his debut on a road course in the Cup Series, the defending O'Reilly Series champion. Running on a part-time schedule with Richard Childress Racing this season. His first start of 2026. Crossover move not going to happen in turn 19. Maybe that was more of a setup for turn 20 because now he's hanging on the inside of Prix. But Prix gets a better drive off, beats him back through the gears, and will hold on. With road course racing comes a lot of shifting. That's something you would see on most ovals. Hand-eye coordination. Is a huge point of emphasis with this style of racing. The Shane Van Gisbergen watch after lap 2, he was in 9th over the last couple laps. He picked up spots on Ty Gibbs and Chase Elliott. Byron also up to 9th as Gibbs fell back a couple spots. Chase Elliott continues to bleed positions every so often, and same for Tyler Reddick, who just got passed by Christopher Bell on this lap, and now is also going to get passed by Michael McDowell. So Reddick is struggling mightily. And they're going to have to make some major adjustments to that 45 car if he's going to compete today. Not something I was expecting. Saw a lot of drivers win from the front row on road courses last season. Obviously, most of those were SVG, but also here at COTA as well. Christopher Bell started second and won the race. It's just a commonality with the next-gen era, especially when it comes to road courses and short tracks. Flat ovals of any kind. The track position from the very beginning means so much. Ryan Blaney also off camera was able to get by Chastain for second within the last couple laps, and he is taken after Chase Briscoe. He was 0.6 faster that last lap than Briscoe, and in fact, he put down a faster lap than anybody that last time by. Nobody ran a minute 40-second lap time other than Blaney. And if we see tire wear, that's also something to kind of watch for that 12. Although it was on ovals last year, the high tire wear racetracks, that's where he was at his best. Seven laps in, side-by-side commercial break on Fox. We'll go through the full field running order. Chase Briscoe is out in front for now, a half a second ahead of the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Ross Chastain is in third, Christopher Bell fourth, Michael McDowell in fifth, sixth is Tyler Reddick. Shane Van Gisbergen 7th, Chase Elliott 8th, William Byron 9th, Ty Gibbs rounds out the top 10. Then AJ Allmendinger and 11th, Chris Buescher 12th, Carson Hocevar 13th, Kyle Larson 14th, Alex Bowman 15th, Zane Smith 16th, Denny Hamlin 17th, Todd Gillen 18th, 19th is Cole Custer, Joey Logano 20th, Connor Zilic 21st, 22nd, Kyle Busch, Daniel Suarez 23rd, Austin Cindric 24th, Bubba Wallace 25th, Ross Chastain 26th, Jesse Love 27th, Ryan Prix 28th, Ty Dillon 29th, and 30th is Riley Herbst. 31st, Brad Keselowski, John Hunter Nemechek 32nd, Austin Dillon 33rd, Noah Gragson 34th, Eric Jones 35th, Cody Ware 36th, and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 37th. So that rounds out the full 37-car field. Most positions gained of any driver so far. 8 spots gained for Kyle Busch from 30th to 22nd, and 7 for SVG from 13th now to 6th as he is about to make a pass on Chase Elliott, or did actually that last lap, and Elliott's about to get past now. It looks like Tyler Reddick in the 45. Actually, he would be passing Reddick in the 45 is likely what would be happening right now. So I believe Reddick was already in front of him. And Byron also in that battle. 24 car. Austin Sullivan, Dirty Reg 22. Thanks for tuning in. Alpine fan. Weasel. Thanks, everybody. Sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We're up to, let me refresh the page, 43 likes on stream. Early going of today's race at Circuit of the Americas.
Our On Box is sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Rep the savings on home and auto insurance. Chase Briscoe's led all 7 laps, but for how long? Ryan Blaney has been on Briscoe like a cheap suit.
Yes, he has, and it's just that car is working so much better for him all the way through that stadium section, Kevin. That car is just turning a lot closer, a lot tighter corner in every single one of them.
Yeah, his distance is just way less. But I mean, when you look at those shallow entries, he's over the curves, lower in the corners, lower on the exit. And to me, that is just a car that, like you say, is turning really well, but something that's going to benefit as we keep running longer and longer into this rut.
As long as it doesn't start getting sling happy over here and start sliding rear tires. That's the balance of this track that you were telling us earlier. High speed sections over here, laterally the car will start getting loose. And then when it does that, the only fix is to tighten it up to, for security over here. That's going to make that stadium section worse.
Well, they've been able to drive away from Ross Chastain by 2.3 seconds, while the lap times from the start of the race to now have fallen off about a second and a half.
See Ryan Blaney looking to the inside right here. Another late move.
But you can see how much better that car is turning. He's fine. If he holds on right here, he's going to have the upper hand. Next corner, there he is.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, Briscoe knows how much better he is and gave him plenty of room to be able to finish that pass. And maybe you can learn something while you can still see him.
Better learn quick.
So Blaney goes to the lead for Ford. Briscoe's Toyota second. Chastain's Chevrolet is third. A little further back, Shane Van Gisbergen has climbed to 6th right now, and he has the Xfinity fastest lap of the race, which was pretty much a given going in.
And I think for him, he knows the chatter about this racetrack and where he qualified. And when you're on top of the game and you're expected to be the best, it motivates you when people think that this is the week. As you see a late dive right there, and those are the types of things that he's so creative with in making happen at the last second that will surprise people.
Now, I like what Michael McDowell did right there. He gave Van Gisbergen the corner. That's a veteran road racer move. Get him to pass you where it's not going to hurt your lap time or his. Now, here's this morning's team meeting for number 97.
Win.
Race car. We didn't qualify quite like we wanted to, but I don't think that's indicative of what kind of car we have for today. It's going to come down to 3 things: exceptional communication, exceptional execution, and let's just go have fun. Like, I think there's been plenty in the last few days that reminded us that we're privileged to do this. So let's just go have fun, kick some ass.
Still in their bed, we're eating their chicken, all right? Hey, 97 all 3. 1, 2, 3.
Wow.
Larry Mack?
Yeah, I've been watching the data on Shane Van Gisbergen, and to no surprise, he just seems like he's so much smoother with the grind. He doesn't rush it when he won't take it. Now, he just told Stephen Dorn, his crew chief, he said, my car really feels like crap, but based on everybody I'm seeing, their car is a lot worse than what I've got right now. He said, I'm actually starting to get a little bit tight, meaning the car's not turning.
Well, Larry, where I'm watching him beat him, it's through those S's, and you said it right there. He's just smoother on the throttle and with his inputs, with the wheel and everything else. That's his strong suit with this car, and it really is showing up through those S's and high speeds part of this track.
And he's become slicker than a grease pig in practice. I mean, he's one of those guys now that knows everybody's watching him. And he'll go out on the racetrack, and he said it to me. He's like, hey, I'll go out there and just make sure my car is good, but I don't want to show everybody what I have in my car. because they all look at the data. They all are trying to imitate what he is doing. So
I don't know how slick that is, Kevin.
it is slick.
Sounds pretty slick. Ryan Blaney has now distanced himself from Chase Briscoe by 1.3 seconds. Jamie?
Yes, Ryan Blaney picking up right where he left off in practice. And I was talking to his crew chief this morning, Jonathan Happler. He said last year tire fall was the biggest issue. And he said with the changes they brought here, he was looking forward to seeing the later part of this stage, exactly laps 11 to 20. All other crew chiefs, they were worried, concerned about it because in practice they only saw 10 or 11 laps on these tires. But this team, very optimistic the changes they made will stick.
A new term in the NASCAR lexicon, and we've heard it a lot this weekend, tire deg. And deg is short for degradation, and we've heard a lot of drivers talking about it. Absent Van Gisbergen.
Well, and when I watch Ryan Blaney right here, the thing I like is his style is to get that car turning good. He's able to climb the curbs and like we talked earlier, keep everything narrowed up and use that throttle. A lot of partial throttle here. So when that car is turning, you can just touch the throttle, baby the thing through the center of the corner, get it to that 3/4 mark of the corner, and then start trying to get full throttle. So if it doesn't fall off right now, he's got the pace.
Well, let's dive into that a little bit deeper, Kevin. All right, you say he gets his car turning well. Well, typically what that means is you got to free the car up, be looser, but somehow his ability behind the wheel, his inputs with the throttle and everything else, he can keep the rear tires on right.
And a lot of that is making the car drive to a driver's driving style. If you want to say this guy's fast and his car's like this, well, that's fine, but I don't drive it like that. And I think sometimes you got to fit into the driver's style to make it work.
Ryan Blaney's last lap, 1.7 seconds off of his fastest lap of the day so far. Ford, Toyota, Chevy, Blaney, Briscoe, Chastain.
Go through the top 10 in the running order here. Back half of stage number 1, caution free through 12 laps. 8 to go now, and the number 12 is out in front, Ryan Blaney. Chase Briscoe, who started in the 3rd place position, came out of turn 1 with the lead, led the first 8. Blaney has now led the last 3 laps and counting. A 1.9 second lead for Blaney over Briscoe as he continues to extend that. He's got a 2.4 second advantage over Ross Chastain in 3rd, Christopher Bell 2.9 seconds back in 4th, and Shane Van Gisbergen 3.8 back in 5th. Michael McDowell 4.7 seconds off the lead at 6th. 7th is Tyler Reddick at 6.4 seconds out of the lead. William Byron 7.5 back in 8th. AJ Allmendinger 8.3 back in 9th. And Chris Buescher 8.7 seconds out of the lead rounds out the top 10. Chase Elliott back to 12th place after starting 5th as he continues to bleed spots. And now I'm regretting putting him in over William Byron in my fantasy lineup. The saving usages in the 3rd race of the season maybe wasn't the greatest tactic there for my part. Before I forget, I'm taking him out right now. You have until the end of stage 2 to finalize those fantasy lineups. The rest of my team's in the top 10 though. So I'll take that. Actually, I believe everybody's in the top 7. The other 5, McDowell, Reddick, SVG, Bell, and Briscoe. Didn't have my guy Blaney, though. He's in the first 2 starts of the season. Got over 100 people in the chat already. Greatly appreciate everybody tuning in. Our like goal, again, is 150. We're at 48 likes right now. Still in the first third of the races. We're in stage 1. So we are on pace to getting to our goal. And subscribe if you haven't yet for more NASCAR content. Trying to hit 7,000 subs today. We are 10 away still, which is where it was at the drop of the green flag. So if you're watching, you're not subscribed, we have live commentary content every NASCAR race weekend for races I don't go to in person all season long across the NASCAR Cup, O'Reilly, and Truck Series, as well as Cup practice and qualifying every weekend as well, just like we did yesterday morning. Truck Series will be off next weekend in Phoenix, so it'll be O'Reilly and Cup only on Saturday and Sunday. And being out on the West Coast, we're going to have a later start time for all things NASCAR next week. 4:30 p.m. Eastern, we'll go live for practice and qualifying on Saturday with the O'Reilly race at 7:30 p.m. Eastern. Cup race will be live, I believe, at 4 with their race starting at around 4:30 Eastern, which would be about 1:30 Pacific. Let me make sure on that real quick. See, I'm glad I checked. 3:30 start time for Phoenix next week. Scratch that, I was an hour ahead. So I did have it right for Saturday. Saturday still 4:30 and 7:30. But then Sunday will be 3 o'clock, same start time as today for that stream. And obviously, I'll remind you guys a couple times throughout the broadcast today. Pass for third place for Shane Van Gisbergen. They went to commercial a little bit ago. He was in fifth. He made a pass on both Michael McDowell and Chase Briscoe. Christopher Bell has also gotten passed by McDowell. He now falls back to sixth. So a lot of movement, both up and down through the leaderboard. Like Bell started eighth. He rocketed up to fourth. Now he's back to sixth. Tyler Reddick was on pole, fell back to ninth. Now he's back to seventh. SVG just started further back in the field. Slowly is gradually gaining spots. He was in 10th. Now is third. Lap time wise, though, Ryan Blaney is still the quickest car on track. SVG may be using his stuff up early to make these passes because right now Ryan Blaney, nobody's got his match. Blaney's looking like SVG out there. He's got a 5-second lead, and he's got 6.7 seconds back to SVG in third. 7.6 to Briscoe in fourth. 7.9 seconds to McDowell. And again, about a 5-second lead over Ross Chastain in second place. Blaney is the man. The question is, will he stay out for the stage points? Or is he going all in for the race win today and sacrificing those? Because if you're wondering and you're new to NASCAR, what I mean by sacrificing stage points, you could pit before the end of the stage knowing there's a guaranteed caution at, say, today, lap 20, lap 45 for the stage ends. Pit road closes with 2 laps to go in the stage, so you have to pit before the leader gets to the line with 2 to go. By pitting, everybody else would pit under caution that would take the stage points. You'll cycle back up to the lead to keep your track position. But if drivers try to stay out, get the stage points, and you end up hitting pit road, obviously the likelihood of you getting your points is very unlikely. So it's a risk versus reward. Obviously, with how many points are awarded now with the race win, you really want to be banking on winning the race if you're sacrificing, say, 10 points, which Blaney would be looking at doing now. He could also gap himself high enough in the running order that even with pitting and bringing several others in the top 10 to pit with him, that he may still have a shot of cycling out inside the top 10, but it's really going to be dependent on exactly how many cars pull off the same strategy. Drivers in the back half of the field are more than likely going to pit, that they're not going to be in the greatest position to get stage points. But you have to be close enough to the front of the field interval-wise to keep from going a lap down. Remember, this is a shorter circuit than the full 4-mile circuit. At COTA, this one just over 2 miles in length. Chase Briscoe continues to fall through the running order. He led the first 8 laps. He has now fallen to 6th, getting passed by both McDowell and Reddick on that last lap. Track map is frozen on Fox's graphic. Blaney's stuck in turn 20, apparently. David Singleton, thanks for tuning in. Go, Blaney. Yes. I call these races down the middle, but judging by my wardrobe during these Cup Series live commentary streams every weekend, I think you guys know who I'm rooting for. Deep down. Maybe we'll celebrate a win together today. I don't want to get ahead of myself. We still have 80 laps to go, but he's looking very, very good. A restart with Shane Van Gisbergen at the front of the field with the 12 is going to be very interesting. Because I feel that SVG will kind of pace behind Blaney. And you know who the better driver is on the road courses there. It's going to be Van Gisbergen. You know, if he can pace at Blaney's pace and then go for it late, that might be the better way for him to find his way to the lead. I'm surprised he hasn't caught Ross Chastain yet. I do think he might have burned his equipment up a little early. That last lap, Chastain was still about a 10th quicker than his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen. Connor Zilic up 9 positions from the start of the race. We haven't talked about him at all yet today. But he is up to 15th. And we've got cars on pit road. Christopher Bell. It's like Kyle Larson's in the pits. Several others.
Four tire change and a fill up with Sunoco race fuel with zero carbon bioethanol.
Well, Christopher Bell, he's one of those cars way out here. And like I had some questions with as to whether they would go after the points, but obviously.
So pitting very early. Maybe a lap earlier than what I was expecting, coming to 4 to go there. For a couple drivers inside the top 10. We'll see where they're going to end up cycling out. Right now, they're all outside the top 20. But we're going to see plenty more come to pit road over the next 2 laps. Mass amount of them coming in this time by, because they will not be able to pit the following lap before Blaney would get to the start-finish line, whether that 12 car pits or not. Could also end up running the risk of like Chastain maybe staying out or something of that nature. Just won't be able to pit. Not without a penalty. Blaney will stay out at least one more lap, though. That's a guarantee. Coming around to the start-finish line, 17 laps of this race, caution-free to kick things off today. Seven-second advantage for the 12th car over the 1 of Ross Chastain in second. Shane Van Gisbergen 8.2 seconds back in third now. Tyler Reddick 10.3 back in fourth. Michael McDowell 10.3 off the lead as well in fifth. Reddick coming onto pit road as of this moment.
Oh, like you see the 45-car Tyler Reddick coming down pit road there. So far, like the radio just said a moment ago, all good in the car, but this is consistent with what happened yesterday. Felt like maybe they actually saved a little bit punch tire in the practice session. He's just trying to manage how hard he can go, what parts of his face.
Roughly a third of the field headed here with 3 to go in the stage.
All right, so a few cars hit pit road. 7-second lead for Ryan Blaney. I would assume he's going to come in. We've seen enough drivers pit now. You're really going to pin yourself back in traffic if you don't. Who's going to stay out to get the stage win is going to be interesting. Who doesn't feel they have a race-winning car, essentially? And good news for the 12 team is they don't have to worry about a penalty here. They got a 7-second advantage over second place. He's going to be the first off of pit road of those that do pit. So no need to have to risk a penalty. Ryan Blaney on his way in to pit road. Pit road will close when that 12 car gets to the start-finish line. If his pit box is before the start-finish line, then whoever the leader would end up being would close the pits. And Blaney's going to be pitted before the start-finish.
Blaney, they pipe with their feet. Coming up at 4 tires, that's 12.
So the 12 pits, but nobody else can because Ross Chastain in second place stays out. He gets to the start-finish line. That keeps Shane Van Gisbergen from hitting pit road. Same for Michael McDowell, Chris Buescher. The only other strategy here is how many cars are going to stay out of the pits at the end of the stage break, not pit at all until we get closer to the end of stage 2. The fuel window is 34 to 36 green flag laps. We're going to run 20 right out of the gate. We're probably going to have 3 to 4 laps of caution during the stage break before getting back green again. That could take them to that 3 to 4 to go mark, but with the fall off we've seen today, that's what scares me most. We've already seen about 3.5 seconds of fall off out of our current leader, Ross Chastain. And with, oh man, how many cars have pitted? Ryan Blaney's outside the top 20, so we've had at least 20 cars stay out. It's really going to be dependent on exactly how many of them are going to keep going. So with 2 to go in the stage, now your top 5 is Ross Chastain out in front, Shane Van Gisbergen second, Michael McDowell third, Chris Buescher fourth, AJ Allmendinger in fifth. Chastain will be coming to 1 to go this time by in the stage. And he has about a 3.5 second lead over SVG. Coors Light machine out in front. Be the first stage win of 2026 for Ross. No pressure on him here. Fast start to today's race. So those that pitted, Ryan Blaney in the 12 is in 14th. He is the first placed car of those on fresh tires. Nobody else is in the top 20 right now. Larson would be the next closest in 23rd. Mixed bag, though. I was right about more cars staying out and getting stage points. It's a tough sacrifice to make under the current point system we're in right now, where you're awarding consistency more than we've had in the last decade and a half or so. Not really going to know how that's going to shape out till we get closer to the end of the regular season, of course. And there's a lot of guys who are fringe playoff contenders, like a Michael McDowell, a Shane Van Gisbergen, where that's probably why they're staying out for these stage points right now. Ty Gibbs missed the playoffs last year. AJ Allmendinger missed the playoffs last year. Chris Buescher missed the playoffs. Like, these are all guys that they're borderline chase contenders. So they're going to get their points when they can get it. And I don't blame them there. Like I said, I think a lot of them are going to try to stay out of the pits. So otherwise, they're going to be well outside the top 10. Stage 1 in the books. Ross Chastain will win the first stage. Shane Van Gisbergen second. Michael McDowell third. Chris Buescher fourth. AJ Allmendinger in fifth. Sixth, Ty Gibbs. Alex Bowman seventh. Chase Elliott eighth. Carson Hocevar ninth. And Denny Hamlin rounds out our top 10. 2022 COTA winner Ross Chastain starts out in front, wins the first stage on pit strategy. Pit stops at the stage break coming up next. Full screen commercial break on Fox for the moment. We'll take our first break of our own. You're listening live on KRC to full flag-to-flag coverage of today's DuraMax Texas Grand Prix. Big Creamer, thanks for tuning in. Cody Ware up 10 spots. Yeah, probably because of the pit stops, too. Zane Smith got his first career stage win at Daytona. Yes, he did. Give you a shout out. Yeah, I did. You were the first in the chat. Definitely got it to you. Buffalo Wild Wings. Hey, I mean, that's not a bad place to watch a race. Hopefully they have it for you on the big screen. They probably don't, but I don't know what other sporting events are going on right now that they would put on the big screen other than that. Maybe like a random college basketball game or something. It's not football season, I can tell you that much. So 3 lead changes in stage 1. First lap with Briscoe taking the lead from the pole sitter Reddick. Reddick, despite starting on the pole, did not lead a lap. And he's on the strategy of those that pitted, so he sacrificed stage points. I think he was second in the running order of those that did pit. So he'll be right with Blaney on the restart. Then Blaney took the lead away from Chase Briscoe after 8 laps. And then Blaney pitted coming to 2 to go in the stage. Chastain led the last 3 laps of stage 1. And the first couple laps of the next stage under caution, obviously, until pit road opens, and then we'll see what they do. Watch the race in the living room. Alabama Crimson Tide Roll fan. Well, Roll Tide. They got a basketball game going on today or something. They were good last season. Last couple years, really. It's scary when Alabama's good at basketball, like they have been the last couple years. Where did this come from? Bad enough you guys dominate football. That's just not fair. Got to give other people some sport. My Michigan Wolverines are tearing it up this year, men's and women's. So March Madness might actually be a bit exciting on my end here in another week or two. Hard to believe that's coming up fast.
It'll show speed with Harvick and Buxton, fueled by Cohen. Subscribe on Fox, on YouTube, the Fox Sports app, or wherever you get your podcasts. Looks like you guys aren't having much fun.
Oh, we're having a great time being able to talk to all those great race car drivers and racing personalities. So it's been fun so far.
Our Toyota Racing Cam, Ty Gibbs, giving us this view from sixth place as they come around. The first 13 cars did not pit. Ben Blaney, who pitted from the lead, then the next three who did not stop.
And that we saw a lot of cars that weren't going to score points that stayed out. We would have most likely not seen that in the past. That tells me that the tire wear for this race is very much on the minds of these teams and being able to make it through these runs and not have a bunch of positions lost with that haul off. So they're concerned about the tires and keeping that pace in them and not putting too many laps on them.
Another Toyota Racing on board. This one on Christopher Bell's number 20. He is 28. He is seventh or sixth of the cars that previously pitted. Ross Chastain leads them on to pit road. Jamie?
And Michael McDowell comes in third of 3 spots at the start of the race. Got tighter as he ran there, but they gave him information and said, Ryan Blaney, that's on tire fall. We're not bad. Small adjustment here.
Told the team, hey, I can't keep the rear tires on. We need to make a huge swing here because we are not good. So look for some major adjustments for the line for him. The one car Ross Chastain just needs drive off, meaning he can't get the power down as well. He wants to. 97 to Shane Van Gisbergen may have gone a little too early too soon that week.
And you saw right there, Ross Chastain lost the lead because he stalled the car, leaving the exit of his pit box.
Long stop for Brad Keselowski, who is still on pit road. And Todd Gilliland pitted for 16th, but the car fell off the jack and lost 7 seconds there.
Ross Chastain against Stage 1 winner. Stage 2 will be coming up very shortly. Thanks to all of you tuning in here on KRC to our full flag-to-flag coverage of today's first road course race of 2026 for the NASCAR Cup Series. Kind of the West Coast swing, if you will, at the start. NASCAR headed west this weekend, got to Texas. They'll be on the West Coast the next 2 weeks at Phoenix and Las Vegas. No truck race until March 20th at Darlington, South Carolina. So only O'Reilly and Cup action for the next couple weeks. Kind of surprising because the trucks usually head out to Vegas. It's a bit strange that they're not going there this year. I think with them going to San Diego for the straight race is the reason why a lot of those teams being much smaller budgeted. I don't think they want them going out to the West Coast multiple times this year. That's why usually when they go out there, obviously Phoenix at the end of the season because it's been the finale the last couple of years, but they usually don't go there in the spring. And they've been out in Vegas, but now they're not going out west at all until midsummer. Yep, first break for the trucks. 3 races to start the season. Had their street race in St. Petersburg yesterday, a standalone event with IndyCar running earlier today in St. Pete. Part of their doubleheader. There'll be another IndyCar NASCAR doubleheader on Saturday next week. IndyCar will be headed out to Phoenix. They'll be running Saturday afternoon before the O'Reilly race. And I believe before Cup Series practice and qualifying as well. Unless Cup practice and qualifying is early in the day. And I'm being bamboozled on my streaming schedule that I read off earlier. There's no way to check on NASCAR.com until like after the race is over, which I don't like. Usually it's a few hours before whatever race is that day, but now they've been doing these IndyCar doubleheaders, it's kind of tough for the scheduling because I got it wrong earlier this week with the O'Reilly race and then probably messed it up for next week as well.
This layout from where we are, and it just, the fans, they come up here to, the cars, they look like my Hot Wheels track. They're going,
I can't believe they sell alcohol up here.
just don't look down. There's a clear floor. And if you're all right, so we're 22 stories high. It's 251 feet, so that's about 50 less than the Statue of Liberty. And this is officially the highest point you could ever go to watch a NASCAR race, be on location and be in person. It's called the Observation Tower. So, Jenny, what, in your expert opinion, have you observed?
Well, it's been a lot of fun to see how the tires are playing a factor into this race. Blaney, obviously, extremely quick, but I think it's interesting to see some of those guys that elected to not flip the stage, go back. Shane Van Gisbergen and Chastain, you're going to start back 15th or 16th. We're going to find out exactly how much tires are worth. Even though those guys that flipped it only have 2 laps on them, it could be a big difference here.
We talked a lot about his teammate, but of course, Ross Chastain, his first career win here, his first win for Trackhouse, I got to keep an eye on. And by the way, this is 419 steps. So do you want to walk down or take the elevator?
Well, based on the amount of barbecue I saw you eat earlier, I think you should definitely take this.
Down, as a matter of fact. Let's run up to the booth.
Thanks, Chris.
Chris Myers catching strays.
All right, the stage is set for a weekend where IndyCar and NASCAR are going to go back-to-back at the same track. IndyCar Saturday, NASCAR Sunday at Phoenix Raceway. Next weekend's the Desert Double on Fox. And Saturday, Clint will get a thrill ride in the fastest seat in sports, the custom IndyCar Series car with a special passenger seat. Leading the field to green for the Good Ranchers 250. Hey, John Bon Jovi's done it. Tom Brady's done it. Clint Boyle do it.
What have I gotten into?
I just hope you don't. I hope you aren't sick when you get done. I know you've got weak in your old age.
Well, I appreciate that.
Jeez.
I kind of feel bad, Kevin. I don't know. We sold our fans on everybody but who, when we got done with practice yesterday, both of us thought was pretty darn sporty, and that's Ryan Blaney. What were we thinking?
Well, we weren't paying attention to the numbers because the numbers have backed themselves up for practice with that 12 car of Ryan Blaney. So sure, he whooped him in the first stage.
Now the first.
Blaney had the fastest 5 and 10 lap averages in practice because of the short 25-minute allotted time and obviously how long it takes to make a lap here at COTA. They couldn't really do anything more than a 15 consecutive lap run. The most we saw was 14 from a few drivers. Green flag is back in the air. Stage 2 underway. Ryan Blaney with the lead. Larson going down to try to block Chastain from row 2. They're going to be 3 wide with Christopher Bell as they head up the hill to turn 1. Blaney unable to keep pace with Tyler Reddick. A much better restart for him. Connor Zilic in the 88's around into turn 1. The whole field going to have to zoom by him. Nobody hits him. He can get going again. Did a great job working his way up into the top dozen after starting in 26. And now he's at the tail end of the field again. Probably had contact, I would assume. We'll have to wait to check on a replay there. But Tyler Reddick out in front for really the first time today. He was the pole sitter, but he didn't lead a lap because he came out of turn 2 in second place behind Briscoe. Briscoe on this restart was right around row 3. He's still battling with Kyle Larson. That battle's for 4th. First, we've seen Larson up in the top 5 today. And how long can Tyler Reddick hold on for, and what kind of adjustments have they made to that number 45 Toyota Camry? Because he slipped all the way back to 7th on that first run of the race, and again, didn't even lead a lap. Now he's got a little bit of clean air on the nose. That'll help a bit. But definitely we're going to have to make some adjustments if he was going to want to compete for the win. And that goes for really anybody because Ryan Blaney cooked him in the first stage. Reddick will lead his first lap of the race as he will lead the opening green flag lap of stage 2. 5 laps in as we had 4 laps of caution, so 20 laps to go in the second stage.
You know, sometimes when you fire off on these tires, the car can feel squirmy and slide all over the place, and that's not something that these guys have had to do yet until just now. So,
And Larry, a lot of times when these single lugs are loose, it happens quick, right? It's because those dowel pins aren't lined up, and that lug nut will come off relatively fast.
Yeah, we have seen it though go several laps, like 3 or 4 laps. We saw that with Bubba Wallace here a few years ago.
Well, let's hope that's not the case for Benny. Christopher Bell completed that pass, moves him up to 7th there in front of Dillon and Custer. Let's have a look back at that restart, see what happened to Connor Zillett. Well, we know what happened to him, but we can figure out why. They're in Chaos Corner, turn 1.
yeah, and the 88 is going to get turned around right here.
Can't tell who that is. It got in the back of it.
Suarez?
SVG, he had all the way to the surrounds.
It was Suarez. Seven got the back of him. That's a bummer. Came a long way. Yeah, you see Suarez moving to the inside over here. Oh, he clipped him trying to get to the inside of it, didn't he?
Yeah, he just misjudged the front bumper right there.
Hard to believe that nobody else hit him. Well, we start the process over again. Yep. For Austin Dillon. Close call there.
I did a great job.
Tyler Reddick is your leader after a bit of a scare for what he thought might be a loose wheel. Here's his radio.
Getting better. Get low, one, get it locked either way. Don't get everything like that. It's good to get where it's true. But I think it's wrong that you're the defense will block where it is at a minimum.
And Larry, what's that lock they're talking about? We've seen it 100 times. As long as it goes by that D10, that will not let that lug nut come off.
Yeah, it's a locking mechanism that springs up and spring loaded. And as long as that lug nut is behind that locking mechanism, you'll be okay because the wheel will feel tight, even if it's not. But it sounds like that locking mechanism is on the outside of the lug nut, good to go.
Brown here or something. Noah Gregson against him. And he'll get away. That's in between 6A and B.
Yeah, and that's the passing zone that we talked about. That was a high risk right there.
Don't do it right.
Yeah, somebody never comes out on the other side.
Now, he was the last of the drivers that had pitted before the end of the stage and was running 16th when he swung. And honestly, Tyler Reddick has had a busy week, not just winning Atlanta, but one day later, he stayed in Atlanta and drove World Heavyweight Champion CM Punk to WWE Monday Night Raw. CM Punk helped celebrate his first 2 victories on the season with a dramatic entrance and how about a championship belt? Oh, cool. Good for him, too. Reddick, Blaney, Byron, Toyota, Ford, Chevy in the first 3 spots.
We've heard a lot of chatter, and Tyler Reddick being one of those guys that talked about how much speed they had taken off. And I think we're going to see a lot of adjustments with guys as they go into this second stage takeoff right here as to how hard they need to push their cars. Which to me, Clinton, will probably lead the cars falling off more than they thought were going to fall off because they went too far on the front side. So that's a tricky balance to be able to figure out.
Well, a lot of times that's the only way you get the track position, too. It's just, you can't give it all back either. I mean, it's a gamble for sure. It's a big part of the strategy side of road course racing. Todd Gilliland finding his way back toward the front in 9th place after that pit stop miscue earlier.
27 laps complete at COTA.
All right. Lap 28 of 95. Circuit of the Americas, Tyler Reddick, our current race leader. Ryan Blaney in second. Third place for William Byron. Daniel Suarez fourth. Kyle Larson in fifth. Sixth is Christopher Bell. Chase Briscoe seventh. Shane Van Gisbergen in eighth. Ninth place is Todd Gilliland. And Austin Dillon rounds out the top 10. AJ Allmendinger in 11th. 12th is Cole Custer. Ty Gibbs 13th. Michael McDowell 14th. And 15th, Joey Logano. 16th, Chris Buescher. Ross Chastain 17th. Eric Jones 18th. Bubba Wallace 19th, and Alex Bowman in 20th. Austin Cindric 21st, Kyle Busch 22nd, John Hunter Nemechek 23rd, Zane Smith 24th, Denny Hamlin in 25th. 26th is Ty Dillon, Carson Hocevar 27th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 28th, Ryan Preece 29th, and Jesse Love 30th. Chase Elliott back at 31st, Riley Herbst 32nd, Connor Zilic 33rd, Josh Berry 34th, Cody Ware 35th, Brad Keselowski 36th. I think he is still in the car. I don't think they made a driver change to Joey Hand yet. Noah Gragson 37th after that spin just a couple laps ago. No cautions for incidents so far, as we're about 54 and a half minutes into today's race. The only caution was the lap 20 stage break, as we have roughly 67 laps to go. 3 laps of caution during the stage yellow, and that was it. Reddick leading his first laps of the day despite qualifying on the pole. Most laps led so far is still Ryan Blaney with 10, 8 for Briscoe, 5 for Reddick, and Ross Chastain was able to lead for 4. In the pits, SVG led 1. 6 lead changes in the first 29 laps. We'll take a quick break. You're listening live KRC. Our full flag-to-flag coverage continues of the DuraMax Texas Grand Prix at Circuit of the Americas. Biggest gainers since the restart. Suarez up 5 positions into the 4th spot. SVG up 8 from 16th to 8th. Also 8 spots gained for Ty Gibbs and AJ Allmendinger to get to 10th and 11th. 7 spots for Michael McDowell. 6 for Busch. 13 lost for Nemechek. And obviously 24 for Zilic after that spin on the restart. Gregson 22 a couple laps later with a spin.
Ryan Relogar. Kyle Reddick back in command. Ryan Blaney, William Byron, and Kyle Larson, the top 5, all of them pitted before stage 1 was over. In fact, all the first 7 cars, and Todd Gilliland in 9th. Of those that pitted after the end of the stage, Shane Van Gisbergen and AJ Allmendinger have worked their way up into the top 10.
Well, I can tell you, the one that I like the most, that I think was the biggest benefactor, is right here, Daniel Suarez in a 7 car, running 4th and running good lap times. He was 22nd before the stage ends. That is a massive turnaround for their day.
Kyle Larson about a second behind Suarez in 5th. With a slow margin there on Christopher Bell, Regan.
Well, like you see, Kyle Larson, a nice move up from where he started in 15th to 5th, but today, the first really warm weather race that we have had this year, and Kyle reported to his team under the most recent yellow for the stage break, his tool is not working. He does run the tool short as well as a helmet home, so he does have air to his helmet. But Kevin and Flynn, you know, if that shirt's not working, it's going to be hot. They got a plan to give him the ice packs on each pit stop.
Yeah, it is not fun because the first hot race of the year, Clint, is always gets to you more than any other race throughout the year because you're just not used to it yet. So when you have that cool shirt not working and him not being able to drain it and get the water out of there, that hot water is going to sit in there and make him actually hotter. So tough situation for Kyle Larson on a warm day. This is the guy that I want to talk about. He's been really good on the road courses, William Byron. He's been so quiet this weekend, Clinton. Now we see him right there behind these first 2 running some decent lap times.
Byron has 3 straight top 5s at COTA, including the win in 2024, and he leads all drivers in laps in today's race. Teammate Alex Bowman sits in 19th right now. One of the drivers that pitted at the end of the stage was Bowman. And if you want a bank like Bowman, use Alex's referral link to be entered for a chance to win a VIP race weekend. Scan the QR code or visit go.ally/Alex Bowman.
Well, he does need to go. This is a racetrack that has been really good to him, finishing in the top 10 and every time here. And he needs something good to happen. He's had a rough couple first weeks. I think he's won Clinton
32nd in points.
Yeah, 32nd in the points, but it has not been a great start to the season for Alex Bowman, and sitting back in 19th, not living up to the expectations that they have coming into this weekend.
Of the drivers that pitted at the end of the stage, he is 8th of those, led by Ben Gisler. Couple of stories to catch up on. Chase Elliott back in 30th had a very, very long pit stop at the end of the stage. Team was very quiet on the radio and did not want to respond to questions as to what was going on with the number 9. Also, Brad Keselowski walked to driver introductions with a cane and a noticeable limp. That broken femur from a ski trip accident. His car was on pit road the longest at the end of stage 1. They made adjustments to the right front and the left front of his number 6-4. But Brad was able to stay on the lead lap under caution, caught up with the field, and continues. He said Joey Hand is standing by, but Brad says his goal is to run the whole race today.
And I think at that point, it's just I think it's just a pride thing and a message to your team. Hey, I'm in here to dig as hard as I can. These are obviously not streaks of Brad's in this Gen 7 car and the things that happen on the road course. But you see Joey Hand right there works with a lot of these Ford guys. Jamie?
Because even with Lane Riggs, won the truck race yesterday and gave Joey a big shift up. And I talked to Joey about that. He said, I can select him during simulation time with these drivers. He's even giving nuggets to practice off. Is struggling, and the car talking and fighting. I asked Joey about him maybe getting in the car today, and he goes, I have faith in Brad. He's determined to finish this race. And he goes, I'm just going to wear my shorts out here so I know I'm not getting in the race car.
Yeah, I noticed he's not suited up for duty. It wouldn't take him long. Tyler Reddick. Licking Ryan Blaney by half a second, with William Byron a further 1 second back. Suarez and Larson complete the top 5 after 32 laps.
Halfway through stage 2, Tyler Reddick, the current race leader, Ryan Blaney in second, William Byron third. Fourth is Daniel Suarez, Kyle Larson fifth, Christopher Bell sixth, Chase Briscoe seventh, Shane Van Gisbergen eighth, AJ Allmendinger ninth, Todd Gilliland rounds out the top 10. 1 hour into today's race, 6 lead changes, 1 caution. No lead changes yet in stage 2. Tyler Reddick has led all the green flag laps in the stage at least, which would be from lap 5 to now 13. Lap 33 of 95 overall in the race. Yeah, definitely more of a pride thing for Brad at this point to try to finish the race, currently in 35th. I would agree for points purposes. I think it'd probably be maybe a wiser decision to get Joey Hand in the car because I think he could do better than 35th out of 37. Brad, not the greatest road course racer in general, and then you factor in he's got a broken femur. That's not going to make things any better either. Like on a normal day, he would have struggled for a top 20 as well, but he is going to get the points because he started the race if Joey Hand was to sub in for him at any moment. So we'll obviously keep an eye on that throughout the course of the day. Point standings coming into the race. We didn't give ourselves enough time in the pre-race to talk about that. I know we're only 2 races into the season, but consistency matters. And it all starts after these first 2 races of the year, as we've seen. Tyler Reddick, our current points leader after winning the first 2 races of the year, obviously, he's going to be the points leader. 40-point lead over his teammate Bubba Wallace as 2311 Racing is 1-2 in the standings. Chase Elliott's in third after getting a top 5 and a top 10 to start the season. Carson Hocevar, fourth in points, up 5 spots after a great day in Atlanta last week. Zane Smith had a stage win in the 500, still holding on to 5th in the standings. Joey Logano in 6th. Daniel Suarez 7th. Ryan Blaney in 8th. Brad Keselowski 9th. Chris Buescher rounds out the top 10. Tyler Reddick has not led the most laps, but 23-11 as a whole, not only his first and second in points, but between the two drivers have led the most. Bubba has led for 86 laps today, and although he hasn't led yet today, Tyler Reddick is leading today. Came in with 54 laps led. Could be fastly approaching Bubba for those most laps led. Chase Briscoe has led for 50 laps, led a few more today. Kyle Larson for 55, most of which last week at Atlanta before he had gotten in a crash at the end of stage 2. So that is definitely spread across the board. Only drivers to have 2 top 10s to start the season are Reddick, Wallace, as well as Zane Smith. So there were 3 drivers to get 2 top 10s in the first 2 races to start the year. Reddick, the only one to have a top 5 in both, let alone the fact that he won them both. So we'll see how long he can keep that streak alive for. He leads today, and he's had a great pace in front of Ryan Blaney, so great adjustments have been made to that 45 car because he did not look like he had a race-winning capable car in stage 1. We have gone a decent amount of laps into the stage, and not only he was able to pace at the short side of the run, but he is still keeping Blaney behind him, though Blaney's not going anywhere, still 5 to 6 tenths of a second back. Curious to see who cycles out in front of the other. Going into green flag pit stops, assuming both will pit, as they did back at stage 1. Shane Van Gisbergen on his watch has moved up to 6th. Connor Zilic, after getting to 12th, having the spin, was at the tail end of the lead lap. He's still back in 30th, trying to play catch-up. Ten laps to go, stage 2, this time by at the line.
Really rough on the exit of this corner. Hear the car almost bouncing off the ground right there.
Chasing AJ Allmendinger, one of NASCAR's best road racers. And he's got a gap back to Michael McDowell behind him. We're going to go for a ride with Chris Buescher. Here's the Trimble foot cam. As he makes a move to the inside. Still there. That's a Cole Custer. Now, Buescher is not your traditional road racer. Watch the hand movement as he goes both hands upward to the left side of the wheel, and those left turns has to come back for the shifter. But you know what? It works for him, and that's the important thing.
Well, the thing I'm the most interested in are his feet. And it really shows you how much work that these drivers have to do. These cars are so sensitive with the modulation of the brake. You see it going into 12 right here. And that's the typical braking style. Heavy braking, and then you bleed out. That lets the front of the car stay loaded to turn. But you'll notice that slow bleed out on those brakes to keep that front end loaded up.
And I like that when he had a chance, he gave a wave out the window at Cole Custer. Thanks for giving me room as I went by. Now he is 16, about 7 tenths of a second behind Ross Chastain. Now let's compare him with Christopher Bell and Toyota Racing onboard camera of last year's winner.
Really notice the way that they bleed out of that brake right here on Christopher Bell's car. But this is the section that is the hardest for the drivers. These S's going into turn 3 right here, you're going downhill the whole time. So you just tap the brake, then you just load the car back up with the throttle, tap the brake again. Same thing in each S, trying to keep the car planted and then take the speed that you feel like you can get out of that as you come out of each one of those corners in the S's. Really bumpy right here. Up 6B down into 12. Oh, see the back of that car slide right there. Wouldn't notice it with his feet. Nothing changed.
I heard it. I didn't have to see it. Hearing the Gearbox. And Ginsburg, you're getting another spot from Daniel Suarez. There's your Toyota top performers. Tyler Reddick, the leader. Briscoe in 6th. Played earlier. Riding with Christopher Bell in 8th. Ty Gibbs in the top 10. 36 of 95 laps complete. 9 to go in stage 2.
Still a lot of laps left in this race. About 58 laps to go as Tyler Reddick crosses the start-finish line. Starting to put a little bit of a gap between himself and Ryan Blaney now. Again, much better Tyler Reddick looking in this stage. Shane Van Gisbergen driving his way up to 4th is still about 7 seconds out of the lead. That last lap was 0.2 faster than Reddick and about a half a second faster than the second-place car of Ryan Blaney. So SVG looking very fast. He's already picked up 12 positions since the restart. Battle for position inside the top 10. 3 cars under a blanket. Kyle Larson, Christopher Bell, and AJ Allmendinger. That battle going on for 7th. Larson giving away 4 positions since the restart where he was in 3rd. Little bump and run by AJ. Into turn 6B to the left-hand corner panel of Christopher Bell. And Ty Gibbs is going to try to slide in and take it away from both of them. 3 wide to the inside. Gibbs being ultra aggressive. Both cars going to get by Allmendinger. McDowell also slides in. Christopher Bell loses 3 positions in about the span of 2 turns. That wasn't good for him. Gibbs is still holding on strong on the outside. Gibbs and AJ had a lot of great battles in the O'Reilly series on road courses when they were both full-time there. Now obviously full-time here in the Cup Series and battling for 7th. And Gibbs is going to slide through and take that spot away from AJ a couple corners after they both had gotten by the 20 of Bell. Bell struggling this stage after getting to 4th on that initial start. Burned his tires up a little early in the run that by the end of the run and closer to those green flag pit stops, he fell to 8th. Next lap in that last time by, SVG was still about 0.2 faster than Reddick, so fastest car on the racetrack right now. That was not the case back at stage 1 when we were deeper in the stage. And we'll be seeing green flag pit stops very shortly. It will not be a long time from now, I can tell you that much. Long ways to go yet in today's race. Obviously not going to be the final pit stop. They will have to pit at some point during the middle of stage 3. But likely a 3 pit stop race today for most of the field. Far less than we saw at Daytona and Atlanta on the faster oval racetracks to the draft through those first 2 races of the season. No fuel only stops today either. You're taking tires if you're pitting here at COTA. Any road course for that matter. Van Gisbergen also has the fastest lap of the race overall, which was a lap time of a 100.048. Fastest lap of the day by the leader, Reddick, lap 27 in this second stage. And that was a half a second slower than SVG's fastest lap. Which is insane because Van Gisbergen was back in traffic when he ran both of those laps. Lap 3, considering he started 13th.
Gibbs, Allmendinger, and McDowell have made it up into the top 10 of those that stopped after the end of the stage. Larry, what do we expect as we get toward the end of stage 2?
Yeah, Mike, and that's getting close. Remember, stage 2 ends at lap 45. And you go back to stage 1, we had a number of drivers that pitted with 3 to go. Then we had some with 2 to go, like Ryan Blaney, who was lead. I honestly believe what I'm seeing right now, that if you're going to chase this race win, you're going to have to flip the stage. You're going to have to pit before it closes. Now, I will say, the fly in the ointment, the man we call SVG, he's got a good enough race car. He making chase stage points. That last stage, we're going to go back racing with probably 46 laps to go. There will be at least one stop in that final stage.
Stage 3 is 50 laps long. Twice the length of this stage.
Yeah, and he's got a little bit fresher tires than Blaney and those guys up front, Reddit. But it seems like they're able to maintain pace. So whether that's track position or just the tire advantage.
So Regan Ross Chastain in the 1 stayed out and won stage 1, but he's only worked his way back up to 15th in stage 2.
Yeah, Mike, and completely opposite from what's going on with his teammate Shane Van Gisbergen. He has struggled mightily this run. Once he got back in traffic, he's too tight. He's sliding the fronts, no rear grip. Everything has gone wrong for this one car as they got back in that traffic.
Chris Buescher right behind him. 15th and 16th there.
And that's very typical when you get back in traffic. It doesn't do anything but get dirtier air. When you're not a superior car, you get stuck where you're running. So seems to be what happened with Ross. And the difference on that restart was SVG was able to get by a lot of those guys and make the passes and put himself in a better spot.
Now, Zane Smith has just come to pit road, and so has Brad Keselowski. Smith, one of only 3 drivers to score top 10s in both of the season opening races at Daytona and Atlanta. Well, careful.
I'm impressed with Suarez being able to hold on and speed right there in the top corner. That was the risk. We needed to be able to get some track position. You talked about, when I was listening to you talk about Chastain, Kevin, the other side of that equation and why you do that is Suarez. But you have to hold tough. And behind the depth of the tires, and he's doing a great job of that.
Behind him, Ty Gibbs has had speed today.
Yeah,
As after teammate Briscoe, and here comes Allmendinger.
Ty Gibbs is looking really good on this long run right here, and he's been able to pass 3 or 4 of these guys over the last few laps. So he's definitely making his way forward.
Fastest car on track that last lap.
And they worked a lot on that car. Yesterday, it wasn't happy. He wasn't very happy at all with his race car after practice. Not the fastest. Huge turnaround for them.
Yeah, you see Allmendinger closes the door on Chase Briscoe right there. Pretty tight move right there. So it's Celsius on board. See that front bumper, Chase Briscoe right on the back of AJ Allmendinger's car right there. But AJ, he was like, I gotta make this pass right now and finish it.
All right. Chris Buescher is on pit road. So is Alex Bowman. Jesse Love comes in. Denny Hamlin to pit road.
Yeah, so right now, all these guys pitting, they don't think that they can make up any track position, so they want to get it by flipping this stage. So they're pitting early before this stage ends, and then all these guys on the racetrack, except for a few of them, will probably stay out and take the points. So we saw Reddick pit at the end of stage 1. They put himself in a position to flip the stage. Blaney, same thing. So we'll see what happens here as we're coming around the pit road this time.
Kobe Meyer in pit lane. And we may see Reddick come to pit road based on what we're hearing on the radio. He'll give up the stage points to put himself in position for that never been done before 3-peat of the first 3 in the season. Ty Gibbs continues to move up pit place with Suarez. And Alex Bowman will get a pass-through penalty from an uncontrolled tire on his stop. And here's the leader on pit road.
Oh!
Spin for Josh Berry. Gets going again. Briscoe in the pit lane as well. So is Michael McDowell.
Ryan Blaney staying out to get the stage points after Tyler Reddick came to pit road that time. So Ryan Blaney looking like he's going to win the stage. So he didn't take the points in stage 1, but he is in stage 2. So that's very odd. I would feel like if you were to take the points at any stage, I would take them in the first and maybe not in the second. And it's going to be a very interesting strategy call for this 12 team that keeps SVG from choosing to pit or not. Same for Byron and Ty Gibbs, who also looks quick. So maybe that's the logic of thinking there. Maybe they can pull more cars to stay out of the pits at the end of the stage as well. Shane Van Gisbergen making a pass for second on William Byron at roughly 5.5 seconds out of the lead behind Blaney. Top 5 in the running order. I guess pit road's not closed yet. My bad. Pit road closes with 2 to go in the stage. Obviously, we have 3 to go. So they still could pit this time. Reddick pitted a lap before, and I think that was so he had the fresh tires for one more lap. He didn't have to worry about Blaney potentially cycling in front of him. Was likely the reason why Reddick pitted when he did. All right, so we'll see this time if the 12 pits. Van Gisbergen and Byron onto pit road. Same for Blaney.
Twice as long as this stage. Jamie.
Ryan Blaney's led 11 laps today, but he just got a little bit too tight getting first on the first stretch. Just air pressure.
Van Gisbergen in the number 97, having a great run back up through the field after, of course, pitting there on that last stage break. Right now, he's told the team that the car is much better this time. Just giving up a little bit too much with the right front. That's the corner he's most concerned about.
So 9 drivers have not stopped. Blaney exits the pit lane. Toward the end of this stage.
Yeah, so
All right, so Ty Gibbs is going to consume the race lead. AJ Allmendinger now in second. Daniel Suarez third. Todd Gillen fourth. Bubba Wallace rounds out the top 5 in fifth. All of those drivers staying out to get the stage points. Other drivers who stayed out in the top 10 would be Custer and Herbst, 8th and 9th. Tyler Reddick is first of those that did pit. He's in 6th. Blaney 7th, so they're still going to get some decent stage points despite pitting here. Byron in 10th also pitted. All right. So Ty Gibbs should easily go on to win this stage. He's got a 2.5 lead over AJ Allmendinger coming up on the final lap of stage 2. Solid start to the day for Gibbs. He was looking very sporty middle of this stage. He was running faster laps than anybody on the racetrack. Far less drivers staying out of the pits this time versus stage 1. We had about 20 of them staying out in stage 1. Stage 2, only 7. So a lot more trying to stay on the strategy of that of the leaders. They're going to be buried very deep in traffic. Suarez, Allmendinger, Gibbs, they were all up in the top 10 all stage. And Gibbs had good long run speed, which I think he could have been an outside contender for the race win today. It's going to be a lot harder taking these points. But he took the points at stage 1 as well. I think he was top 4. So solid points performance there, and he still could rally to get a top 10. 50 laps at stage 3. It's a long time. It's more laps than stage 1 and 2 combined. Could be the logic in thinking for that 54 bunch. On top of the fact they feel they probably need points if they're going to want to make the chase. Missed it last season. Made the playoffs the year before on points. Slow start last year for Gibbs. A much better start to this season than last. 2 more turns to go for Ty Gibbs. Green, white, checkered flag in the air. And Ty Gibbs will win stage 2 at COTA. AJ Allmendinger in second, Daniel Suarez third, Todd Gillen fourth, Tyler Reddick in fifth, Bubba Wallace 6th, 7th, Ryan Blaney, Cole Custer 8th, Riley Herbst 9th, William Byron 10th. 1 point per position there. 10 points for first, all the way back to 1 point for 10th. 8 lead changes so far today. About an hour and 22 minutes to get through the first two stages of today's race. We're just about halfway home, couple laps shy of that. We'll be past halfway when we get to the restart to begin stage 3. You're listening live on KRC. Full flag-to-flag coverage of this race continues on the channel. We're going to end the chat poll as we're at the end of stage 2. 140 votes were casted for who you think is going to win today's race. 42% of those 140 votes still taking Shane Van Gisbergen. Very close with the other option. Other at 38% of the 40 votes, so 4 percentage victory in the poll for SVG. Tyler Reddick at 14% after leading the most laps in stage 2. And Chase Briscoe, 6% of the votes, just doesn't look quite as strong as I would have thought coming into the race. My fantasy lineup is locked up, as is all of yours, of course, at the end of stage 2. I took Chase Elliott out of the lineup for today. Just was off. Had a lengthy pit stop on pit road 2. Not showing up this week, despite qualifying 5th. Quite surprising. I know he has a won a next-gen road course race. All of his wins on road courses were with the Gen 6 car. But he has still had great runs. He's a consistent top 5, top 10 guy, but big hurdles, no stage points to go with either today for the most part. He got some in stage 1, but despite staying out of the pits, I mean, that car just did not look good. Compared to the other 5 in my lineup who have been top, 7 all day, I didn't feel that Chase Elliott was a good pick. So took him out. Subscriber watch, ladies and gentlemen. We are 5 subs away from 7,000. Be sure to hit the subscribe button if you haven't done so yet. Also hit like on the stream if you haven't done that as well. Our like goal is 150 for today's stream. And we are currently at 75. So halfway to our like goal. And we are almost halfway through the race. So be sure to hit that like button if you haven't done so yet.
In general, and Tyler Reddick winning the first 2 races with a historic moment, and it was big.
First driver to win the first 2 races since Matt Kenseth did it in 2009.
New episode every Tuesday and Thursday for NASCAR's #1 podcast. Kevin Harvick's happy hour. Talking about 2311, they run 5th and 6th right now. In fact, drivers that stopped before the end of the stage and got stage points. Reddick in 5th, Blaney in 7th, Byron in 9th, and Van Gisbergen in 10th.
So you flip the stage and still got stage points. That tells you when your day's going really good, you're able to do both of those things.
Ryan Prix having cool shirt issues. One of a couple of drivers. As things are pretty hot. What are we, mid-80s today? And not a cloud in the sky in Austin, Texas. There's Prix and his Ford Racing Cam.
And this is not the day you want that cool shirt to go out. I can't stress that enough because it is a full load of work, but it's hot. And the road courses just create more heat than the ovals. So wrong day for a cool suit to be bad.
He is running 23rd.
Just apply more of the brakes, using more of the transmission with the shifting. It's going to create a hotter temperature, both on the engine, inside the race car. And full shirt failing for Ryan Prix. Going to have to try to stick it out the old-fashioned way inside the race car. All right. So coming up on stage 3 today, our stage winners, Ross Chastain, stage 1, Ty Gibbs, stage 2. We'll have pit stops coming up and come back from the next commercial. Time for our diecast showing since we're at the end of stage 2. In today's diecast, we've got for you Jeff Gordon, and this is from 2009, his Nicorette Chevrolet. As far as this Jeff Gordon diecast goes, this is the only one I have. I need to get a Flames Jeff Gordon, probably a rainbow card, just because, of course, that would be the classic. But the Flames more in my era and my childhood of watching Jeff Gordon race. This is the Green Flames. And showing this one off because if Shane Van Gisbergen wins today, he will tie Jeff Gordon for the most consecutive road course race wins. Gordon in the mid to late 90s was able to win 6 consecutive road course races between Watkins Glen and, at the time, Sears Point. We'll see if SVG could tie him today. Figured it would be a good time to show a Jeff Gordon diecast. So Kevin Harvick, first 2 weeks of the season. Jeff Gordon here today. Gene Huddleston, thanks for tuning in. And just over 100 people in the chat still. We've had that pretty much all race long. So thank you for staying tuned in. As our coverage continues at COTA.
Beautiful road course at Austin, Texas, designed for Formula One, adapted for NASCAR, and great place to come see a race. Where Alex Bowman stopped by the Ally activation here to play some games, load up on some Bowman bucks, and access the Ally Vault exclusive to customers. You want to bank like Bowman? Be entered for a chance to win a VIP race weekend? Visit go.ally/Alex Bowman. Bowman had an uncontrolled tire on his pit stop at the end of stage number 1.
Bad roll, wasn't it? Just got over on the sidewall a little bit, took off into the next box.
Oh, and then it fell again. All right, pits will be open this time. 9 drivers did not stop prior to the end of the stage, and will need to stop here. And perhaps some of those that stopped previously will come back in. Austin Dillon is in the pit lane, has been there for quite some time. He is shiftless. The shift lever is not connected. Was running 13th before that issue.
So you see the onboard right here. He's going to reach down and.
They got it fixed now. But you saw him reach up and downshift. You kind of see it in there. Yeah, here we go. Here. Okay, shit.
This was early.
Watch this. Where is that thing? Whoops.
Oh, it just fell right off.
That's not great, Kevin.
All right, it's open and it's a busy place. Jamie.
That's not good.
Big PR for Ty Gibb for the 54 team. He said they were definitely better with that run. He just wants better drive up. Great run so far here. Josh.
Manuel Suarez, the initial decision was to take what the leader did, but last minute decision to stay out at the end of that stage. He said that car firing up well, but at the end, he's barely hanging on to those tires. Brilliant. Nice job getting stage points for AJ Allmendinger, but that car is tight with the nose, has no grip in the rear. His cool suit's not working. His helmet hose is blowing hot air.
Wow. Packing it full of was race fuel with 0 carbon bioethanol and a fresh set of Goodyear tires. While Wallace pulls out in this narrow pit lane. Contact Josh Berry there.
How did I get?
Yeah, definitely a narrow pit road. More purpose built for open wheel racing. Again, the Formula One IndyCar ranks racing here on an annual basis. As Mike Joy stated on the broadcast just a little bit ago, purpose built for Formula One, adapted to NASCAR. Yeah, kind of crazy. Austin Dillon's shifter just came off. Like, I've never seen it just break like that. Just dangling. I wonder if that's fixable. He's on the lead lap for right now, but we'll have to wait and see if Austin Dillon's going to be able to continue. Hear anything broken with the shifting, you just imagine it's a transmission problem. It's like, no, the shifter inside the car actually broke. Kyle Lance, thanks for tuning in. What's up? Halfway through this race, first 2 stages in the books, 9 lead changes, 2 cautions. Both of them were the stage ends at lap 20 and lap 45. We've had no cautions for incidents so far, so this race is flying by. And it's 95 lap total. We'll see if stage 3 goes without any incidents as well. We did have a couple of spins, Gregson and Zilich in stage 2, but got turned back around in the right direction. Josh Berry late in the second stage also went for a spin in the S's. So had a few of them, but no severe damage, no track repair with like having to move tire packs or anything like that like we saw in the O'Reilly race yesterday. Clean and green so far. Yes, Seth Rollins is back. Yes, he is. Actually watched the rest of the chamber this morning. I fell asleep trying to watch it last night during the main event. Woke up this morning, pretty much the first thing I did. Curious to see what that's going to look like. Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed are actually out with injury. Does that mean we're getting a Seth Rollins and Logan Paul match at WrestleMania? They've already done that a couple years ago, though, so I don't know that they run that back again. We'll see.
Could he win a 6th-straight road course? And they both had different stories here. Reddick has led the most laps, started on the pole as far back as 24th. 16th is the furthest back. SVG he's only led 1 lap.
Yeah, I mean, it's been 2 different races for those guys. Obviously, Reddick starting up front and electing to flip that first stage. And SVG went on to run that out. And so Shane started so far back in the second stage. We really haven't seen those 2 together. Now they both flipped the stage. SVG's going to line up, within a row of Tyler. We're going to find out who's going to make the history today.
On our pre-race show, you picked Tyler Reddick. Are you staying with him?
I am. I can't tell as we watch these races. The drivers do such a good job of managing tires. They get out front. It's not about driving away. It's about saving as much car as you can for when you need it. It's going to get interesting now.
Last driver to tie, or at least chance at the 3rd straight to start a season. Matt Kenseth, 2009. It was in Las Vegas. He wound up 43rd. Reddick ahead of that pace. Our Army's driver picks to the booth. Let's go there to see what they think.
Thanks for the sign, Clint. You go first?
Yes. Oh, you're in trouble, Kevin. Folks, the first 3 races in NASCAR have never been won in a row. It happens today. The record's going to be broken from my guy, Kevin Tyler Reddick.
Well, my pick is so easy that I didn't need any stats from the stats guys, and they can do exactly what they normally do. Nothing. Shane Van Gisbergen.
I got to jump on board the Blaney bus. He has been the fastest car in 25% of the laps run today. He's as fast as he was in practice without the fall off that other drivers are seeing late in the run.
We might be in trouble.
Well, it's going to be a battle. I know that.
We know that. Getting ready for the restart for stage 3.
I think the key to that is they're finally all 3 of those picks that we just said are up front. Now I'm going to see who's got the best car.
Yeah, and that's what we want to see. We want to see the best 3 cars battle it out. But
this is the first time we've seen it.
Yeah, but the wild card of this whole thing, as it is on every restart, is turn 1. You just don't know what's going on behind you. You don't know who's going to dive bomb. You can be 4 or 5 wide. So you got to make it through turn 1. That's just
Yeah, Gibbs restarting 27th after winning stage 2. That's the sacrifice you have of going for the stage points when only 7 cars stayed out to do the same. So Tyler Reddick will restart as the leader. He led the most laps in stage 2. Ryan Blaney led the most in stage 1. He's on the outside of row 1. Reddick will choose the inside. Shane Van Gisbergen right up there with the leaders for really the first time today on a restart, going to be in 4th. One to look out for as well. Green flag back in the air. 45 laps to go at COTA. 3 wide for 3rd. Headed for turn 1. Briscoe, Byron, and it looks like 4 wide now as McDowell will take to the outside of that. Shane Van Gisbergen in the middle as well. Tyler Reddick going to come out with the lead. Blaney in 2nd. SVG went a bit wide out of that 4 wide battle. He's going to come out battling now for 5th side by side with Christopher Bell, and Bell will give him that spot. Chase Briscoe with a great dive bomb in that 4 wide move to pick up 3 positions, going from the inside of row 4 up now to 3rd. Highest he's been in the running order since leading the first 8 laps of the race. SVG not waiting long at all to try to attack on William Byron in the 24 car. Turn 6 A and B. Gets to his inside. Will stay there into turn 12. Bell going to try to follow Van Gisbergen down on the bottom. Byron holding on strong for now. Went very wide. Michael McDowell, Kyle Larson flatlining the corner. And a lot of contact. 4 wide now as they get SVG back in the mix. And Byron holds off the 97 for now. There's a lot of contact between the 7120 and the 5. McDowell really flatlined the corner. It worked out for him because he gets the pass on both of them. Ultra aggressive move by Michael McDowell. Maybe he's learning from his teammate Carson Hocevar. The old learning from the young. Wouldn't say I've seen Michael McDowell make aggressive moves like that on a very often enough basis. But he did there. Chastain Larson side by side. Chastain might have clipped the grass up out of turn 20. Oh boy, a little contact. He wants more room. Swerving down, kind of getting the 5 car off of his door a bit. Tyler Reddick trying to go for 3 wins in a row to start the season. A history-making moment if he can do it. Well, Ryan Blaney sits in 2nd behind him. Another spinner. Eric Jones in the 43. He's off in the grass. Can't tell what area of the track that is. But he's going to get back going again. Looked like it was down around turn 2. Tough to tell for sure. Tough day for Eric Jones. Back half of the field for most of it. Now the spin, he's at the very back. Ryan Blaney locking the brakes up. You can tell he's pushing harder now than he probably has on a short run. He wants to stay with, if not pass Reddick and then save with his tires. We'll see how that works out for him. We know Blaney's very great at saving his tires over the course of the long run, but Reddick had him beat in stage 2. Blaney was within a second the entire time, but that was it. Could hang with him, couldn't make the pass. Reddick better on the restarts. And Blaney was the control car in the restart to begin stage 2. Not this time. But he flat out got beat by the 45 the first go around. They're nose to tail. It's across the start finish line. 43 laps to go. We're 2 green flag laps into stage 3. Showing a replay of the Eric Jones spin. It was around turn 2. Looked like he went wide out of turn 1 and swung across like there was nobody there to try to set himself up for turn 2, and there were 2 cars there. Kind of spun himself off the front bumper of a couple underneath of him. I believe Carson Hocevar in the 77 was the driver he spun across. There could have been contact between those two getting into the corner, which might have forced the 43 wide, but whatever the case is, Jones did not get the last lap there. How long into the run before Shane Van Gisbergen's able to pick up a little bit more time again after falling to 5th on the restart? He was on the outside of row 2 initially. Still remains in 5th. Split between 1st and 2nd, about 0.4 of a second, with Reddick in the lead, Blaney 2nd. Chase Briscoe is 1.7 seconds back at 3rd, 2.3 seconds to Byron in 4th, and 3.6 seconds back to Shane Van Gisbergen in 5th. So top 5 in the intervals between them. Reddick, Blaney. And pretty much the rest of the field as they're putting a little bit of distance on him right now. 22 laps led today for Reddick, most of any driver. Blaney with 11, 8 for Briscoe, and 5 for Ty Gibbs. Ross Chastain also has led for 5 laps. 10 lead changes, most of which during pit stops, but we've had a couple passes for the lead. The restart for Reddick on Blaney, and Blaney outright passed Ross Chastain for the lead, or Chase Briscoe, excuse me, for the lead back in stage 1. Fastest laps of the race by both Reddick and Blaney on the restart, lap 53. That last lap was their quickest, a 100.16 for Reddick and 100.05 for Blaney. So not only they're pushing hard at the start of the run for the first time, but this is the hardest they've pushed the entire race. Byron also running his fastest lap at lap 53. Same for McDowell in 6th. Reddick, lap 54, puts his fastest lap up. Our first sub 100-second lap time today, 99.933. Still a couple seconds off of qualifying yesterday where we saw a couple of 97s. Can't run that fast in the race and expect that to hold up from a tire wear standpoint over the course of, a full fuel run, for instance. 30 plus laps. You got to pace yourself a little bit more. It's how hard do you want to push? Get into a late race restart situation, that'd be a little bit different. Green, white, check. You only got a couple laps left. Burn your stuff up. You're going for it all. Connor Zilic, watch. We haven't talked about him in a while. Spin at the beginning of stage 2. He has come from last, basically, at that point, up to 13th. The rookie, Connor Zilic. Road course racing, I'd say ace, even though he's only 19 years old, but this is his specialty. And he is well on his way to getting himself to the top 10. Kyle Busch, another story to watch, started 30th today. A long grind for him to get up to where he's at in 11th after a top 5 and leading the most laps at COTA last season. Van Gisbergen still has the second fastest lap of the race, but Tyler Reddick now owns the quickest. Zilic making a pass for 12th that last lap on Logano. Keep an eye on that 88 car. Reddick wiggled out of turn 2. Wrong area of the track. It looked like it was actually around turn 12 in the stadium section now. Blaney is alongside Reddick, and we have a battle for the lead with about 40 to go this time by. Over-under move, and Blaney can't sneak back to the inside of Reddick into the horseshoe. But he is there. It's going to get intense. Van Gisbergen still about 3.9 seconds back in 5th. Probably the 3 favorites for the race win today are your top 2 and then SVG in 5th. Zilic, if he gets up there, we catch a caution. I won't count him out of it either. He just hasn't had the track position the other 3 have had. Qualified in the back half of the field yesterday. Reddick pulls Blaney a bit between that long front straightaway and through turn 1. It does seem like Blaney's a little bit better in the more tighter corners. Back to back, Reddick's got more horsepower and can kind of get through the shifts a bit better than Blaney on the longer straightaway portions of the racetrack. The last lap, Blaney almost 0.3 of a second faster than Reddick. Reddick gapping him a bit on this lap, though. They got back to that start-finish line, and he's put a couple extra car lengths on the 12 because in this area of the track last lap, they were nearly side by side, and for a couple corners they were. And now there's anywhere between a 3 to 4 car length difference. Blaney looking to gain again in the stadium section, and he does. Heavy under braking right around turns 13 and 14. Gets back to within a car length and a half or so. Reddick back to the gas pretty well for the most part. 10 positions gained since the restart for Connor Zilisch and Ty Gibbs. Gibbs was 27th on the restart, up to 17th. He was running faster lap times than anybody else on the racetrack when he was right around 6th place, and then won the stage because the top 5 in front of him had pitted in the closing couple laps. KTN USA, Hockey B, thanks for tuning in. Our like goal, originally 150. Might have to skew that a little bit. We're at 79 likes. Let's try to see if we can at least get that to 100 here before the end of the race. We are under 40 laps to go at Circuit of the Americas. We still have had just over 100 people watching this entire race. Zilisch made a pass for 11th on Kyle Busch in the last lap or so. Now he's going after 10th, Austin Cindric. Less than double-digit career starts in the Cup Series for the 19-year-old Connor Zilisch, and he's already inside the top 10 in the third race of the season. And he is absolutely rocketing his way through the field. Again, he spun at the beginning lap of stage 2, green flag lap that is, so it would have been right around lap 29, lap 30, and in less than 30 laps, he's already back in the top 10. He has passed a lot of cars, and even in passing cars, his lap time, that last lap, for instance, a 100.759, that was only 2/1000ths of a second slower than the race leader's lap time, Tyler Reddick, and that's in traffic. Reddick has clean air. Blaney closing back in on Reddick over the last couple laps. They're nose to tail to the front stretch, start-finish line area. Sue Brown, thanks for tuning in. Got Byron for the win. I've seen a few Byron picks in the chat throughout the course of the day. He's quietly in 4th. Dive bomb for Larson into turn 1. Bell was in the middle of 3 wide. Larson almost slides all the way up into Chastain. Bell, the more patient of those 3 into that corner by far. They keep battling like that, and Zilisch will catch him before no time, because that is a 7th, 8th, and 9th place battle on track. Zilisch again in 10th. Who was winner of Xfinity? O'Reilly race yesterday was won by Shane Van Gisbergen. All right, hour 50 minutes in. Side-by-side commercial break still ongoing on Fox. We'll take a quick break of our own. You're listening live. Our coverage continues to the end of the race. Top 10 in the running order. Tyler Reddick leading. Ryan Blaney second. Chase Briscoe third. William Byron fourth. Shane Van Gisbergen in fifth. Michael McDowell sixth. Rush Chastain seventh. Kyle Larson eighth. Christopher Bell ninth. And Connor Zilisch in 10th. Ty Gibbs playing catch-up. Catching Joey Logano at a very fast rate. Pass will be for 16th for Gibbs. Everybody still has to pit one more time before the end of the race. When to do that is going to be the question. Usually you want to be the first to pit last on a road course, but in a situation like this, where we have seen a decent amount of tire fall off today, upwards of about 3 seconds over the course of a 20 to 25 lap run, because stage 1 and stage 2 both went caution free. We had 20 and 25 laps in those stages. I do think the longer you wait, the better to attack later, especially if it gets some late race cautions. Because that's exactly what happened last year. Remember, Kyle Busch was of the first to pit. He had that big lead, then he was trying to save to the end, but we had a caution in the final 10 laps. And he ended up getting blown by on a restart.
Here in Austin, Texas, things were hot and heavy. They're sipping on back. Chastain, Zilisch, Larson, Bell. all battling for position.
I tell you,
37 to go.
we get a caution. That 88 from Connor Sills is fast. And he
Up
can
to
need
8.
attention to run with these guys up front.
Has been all day. He's been knocked around. He got up there, got spun out. He gets back in the back, been beat up. 35 is leaning on him a couple times. But you're right. Very fast race car.
Christopher Bell moving up the inside on Kyle Larson. Crosses over and gets to his inside. Here we go. Still there. Oh, yeah. And Bell emerges.
Yeah, I don't know if there was something that Kyle didn't like about the way that Bell passed him to try to throw that thing back in there.
Those two have been like a magnet to one another all race. They've been banging on each other. They can't get away from one another.
37 drivers started, all still running, all on the lead lap. And the only cautions we've had have been for the stage breaks. Zillage 7th, Chastain 8, after leading 4 laps and winning a stage.
They're still going out back here.
Yeah.
Larson and Bell.
Oh,
Wow.
and here comes Kyle Busch.
Look out.
Looking at Larson's inside. He wants a piece of this.
Larson and Bell, I mean, they've been aggressive with each other for a while now. This goes back to stage 2.
Yeah, we haven't talked about Kyle Busch all day.
Oh, he sent him.
Bell just moved the 5 car back out of the way.
This is getting ugly.
Got Kyle Busch right there looking to pounce, and Austin Cindric and Ryan Prix.
Well, when you race like this and you're throwing haymakers at each other, that just drags everybody else into the race.
Yeah, look in front of him. Nobody. Side by side again.
Now,
And
Larson runs him wide.
Capitalize. And he gets Bell. Bring it.
Well, if I give a shout out to Kyle Busch and Jim Coleman, that whole A-team, the work that they've done today so far, started 30th. Said yesterday felt like a little bit of a momentum killer for him because they struggled so badly, but it is one of Kyle's best tracks with RCR. Very solid right now. Black rear grip earlier, as we see a dive by Austin Cindric. Black rear grip earlier, but it's pretty good right now.
Kyle led the most laps in this race last year, finished 5th. Since joining RCR, his average finish at COTA is his best of all tracks at a 5.0. Here come the RFK Fords, Prix and Buescher.
Well, this group right here, Clint, they are not cutting any slack to each other. It is gloves off.
Mid-pack, buddy. Mid-pack. That's where you don't want to be.
Well, they're racing right outside of the top 10.
Well, you just can't run in a preferred line. You're always protected one corner. That
Thank you.
sets you up for not in the right spot for the next corner, and then they'll give you a crossover. You can't get away from one another.
$35 laps to go. And here are your leaders. Here's the progressive race summary. Tyler Reddick has led twice for 31 laps. 10 lead changes. Everybody's still on the lead lap. The only cautions we've had were for the stage breaks, a total of 7 laps. Chastain and Gibbs, the stage winners today.
These two right here, I mean, they just keep matching each other. One little slip up of Reddick and Blaney will be right there. They have put on a show today. Reddick, Blaney.
What this is leading to is what's going to happen on pit lane.
Exactly.
That's what's going to decide this lead, most likely, is who gets on and off of pit lane. If somebody comes to pit road before they think they're going to come to pit road and jumps them, and that's probably, Larry, wouldn't you say that that's what that 12 car is thinking about, how to be able to jump this 45 by a lap?
Yeah, remember our Toyota keys to the race. When do you make that final stop? Honestly, I think in about another 8 to 10 laps, that's when they're looking at. I personally would like to split the stage in half, which would have me coming about lap 72 to 73. That's an equal amount of laps on the 2 sets of tires. Plus, that's about what we ran in stage 1 and stage 2.
Would you take a little bit of a chance right here if you were the 12 car? Because unless Tyler, at this point, it doesn't look like he's going to pass him. unless he makes a big mistake.
I think if I'm, yes, Jonathan Hassler, I want to try to jump that 45 car and come early. If I see that 45 coming, I'm going to be right on his heels.
Kevin, as close as they are to one another, though, it comes down to the performance of the driver, the crew chief, or the crew, everybody in the pits. That one slow on the front stretch. Now, Christopher Bell, who was on pit road at lap 2, is in.
If the window's low down, you make it to the end of the field.
Josh?
Christopher Bell, that car was not like the race winning car he had last year. When they're complaining up rear grip all race long, he's going to get the closest tire in the fuel on his final stop.
So Bell, the first of that lead group to pit. And it kind of got him out of that hornet's nest of 7th to 12th, where there was a lot of jostling going on.
And sometimes that's what you want to do. You're losing time. You got him and Kyle Larson kind of got into a tussle there, trade positions, lost some time. So get yourself clear and run some good laps.
Here's the 19 radio, Briscoe.
Can't get it out of gear. What do you struggle with? Only the liquor tire spinning.
Oh, no, that's the car that I said was slow on the front straight, or Chase Briscoe. Only one tire spinning. Larry?
Yeah, remember, they don't have axles anymore. This is a transaxle, so it could be one of those things that goes out to the hub from the center of the transaxle that's broke. You can see it right there, the way he's having to drive that thing.
Was third when this trouble began. Tough break for Briscoe, who led the first 8 laps of this race.
And he had a solid day. Great start to the race, kind of faded a little bit, but now he's got big problems.
And he will come to pit road. Ty Gibbs is in the pits. Remember, Gibbs won stage 2 and then came for his stop. So also in is Chase Elliott. Zane Smith is in. Hoxamar, Dylan, Suarez, and Gregson. And Briscoe went behind the wall.
Like what these drivers would love to see that's made this green flag pit stop. They'd love to see a caution. That means they leapfrog the leaders because the leaders would have to pit. They would love to see what's coming out in the next lap.
And that's the risk that you run if you stay on the racetrack and all these guys start pitting and then that caution were to come out. It would flip the field. So all these guys that are on pit road, if the caution would come out right now, you'd lose all that track position to everybody that's been on pit road already. So flip side of that is if these leaders stay out for 3, 2, 3, 4, 5 laps, however many laps they decide to stay on, they're just going to have fresh tires.
Well, kind of a bad plan, though, is hoping for somebody else's misfortune to make your day.
Close is never a good strategy, Mike.
Right. And caution collects pretty rare here, because usually if somebody spins, there's enough time for them to get going again before the field comes around.
If you were Ryan Blaney right now, Clint, and you were kind of mano-a-mano right here versus Tyler Reddick, would you just want to pit with him?
I'd be trying to sell my crew chief to get me on pit road one lap ahead of him, probably. But if they're so close, I honestly think I'm just going to tell myself I have to hit my marks. I need to roll it best I can. My entry, my exit, and the guy's got to do a good job getting them 4 tires on. Kyle Busch is in, Chris Buescher, Joey Logano on pit road. All green flag pit stops. Here comes Bubba Wallace to the pit lane. And Cole Custer.
And I thought this a couple times today about these leaders, and I'm thinking to myself right now, Tyler Reddick starting to pull away, got himself a little bit of gap, and then it shrinks back up. So that's really been kind of been the ebb and flow of the distance of the first and second place cars.
Well, they're equally managed. On that, just whoever, like you said, whoever wins on the pit road. Well, if you look at the way the day is going so far, Reddick has been a full second faster on each stop today than Blaney's number 12 crew.
That's not good.
He's up into the top 20, restarted 32nd, has worked his way up to 17th place.
So watch for a Monster Energy can. Knowing your pit crew is having a little bit of a difficulty, that probably will maybe I want to come in a little bit early, right? Short pitting, what you think?
I think that if you're on the side of questioning anything like that, you want to be the first one to pit because we saw earlier how big of an advantage that Tyler Reddick had when he pitted that one lap sooner.
Kyle Larson makes his stop along with Ryan Prix. Regan?
Like you see the 5-car Kyle Larson pitting from just inside the top 10 right now. The main thing to look for on this stop is they go over the wall, watch at the driver's side door. They're going to be in ice packs, as well as energy drinks. So that's the first watch. Keep getting that car. Keep in mind that cool suit has not been looking for it.
Jesse Long, Josh Berry, in the pit lane, Brad Keselowski and Cody Ware. All making stops, and everybody's still on the lead lap here.
What I see with these drivers that are winning is they did not have a chance winning this race. They are trying to get off sequence to the leaders. I'd be shocked if the leaders don't run up close to lap 70 where they're not trying to run too many laps on that last set of tires.
3 laps to go. You do not want to caution right now if you're those guys.
Blaney's starting to lose Reddick a bit.
Tyler Reddick, Ryan Blaney. You know that the crew chiefs have been working overtime, figuring strategy with the team engineers, what to do. How about the leader, Regan?
Well, like you talk about that strategy, part of that is telling your driver what you need out of them. Tyler Reddick is about a lap and a half. That was told by crew chief Billy Scott. We are going to pit in a handful of laps. I need you to push really hard right now and try to pick up the pace of the pit. Jamie?
Ryan Blaney's pit crew has been ready for a laps. The only thing they've really talked about is the right front. Ryan asked the team to check it out, thought maybe he had an issue. Make it look okay. They'll take a hard look at it and pick the sun.
0.3 seconds. Reddick has picked it up. That last lap, he was 0.4 of a second faster than Blaney.
Yeah, when they told him to go, he has definitely pushed the button. But the guy that is the fastest car on the racetrack is Connor Zilich. And 2 things that they don't want right now, or there's 2 reasons they don't want to caution. One is they don't want to be behind all the guys that pitted, and 2, they don't want to have to race that guy.
He is flying.
Because that is flying.
Something fit.
And flying on a day that he's had a lot of controversy with different situations, and being able to regroup and get himself in a position to make fast laps and be in contention again at the end of this race.
The fastest cars in the track on that lap, Zilich, Reddick, Chastain.
29 laps to go at Circuit of the Americas, awaiting the final pit stops. For a lot of the leaders up at the front of the field, they can still go, again, about 34 to 36 laps on green flag action. We had the restart to begin this final stage at lap 50, and we're working lap 68 right now. We go a decent ways to the end. I mean, they still probably have another 15 laps left in it, but then you run the risk of giving up maybe too much time, and those further back on those fresh tires trying to get the advantage, you're not going to cycle back out in front of them anymore. Connor Zilich on the move as he is up to 5th place, 8.5 seconds off the lead. I noticed when he was up to 7th, he was about 10.5 seconds back, so he is the fastest car on the racetrack on a consistent basis, clicking away time at the leaders. He's within about a half a second of William Byron for 4th place. Shane Van Gisbergen, he's been quietly in 3rd the entire time, just doesn't quite have the speed that the 45 and 12 have had over the course of this race, really. I put him in that top tier of favorites to win still of the fastest 3 or 4 cars. He's just the 3rd of them. Not only in the running order, but probably in the order of how quick they've been from start to finish of this one. So we'll go through the full field running order. We've had some pit stops and some drivers have not pitted yet, so this is going to be a little bit skewed one way or another once we get into the middle of the pack. Tyler Reddick in the race lead, Ryan Blaney second, Shane Van Gisbergen in third, William Byron fourth, and Connor Zilich in fifth. Michael McDowell sixth, Ross Chastain seventh, Ty Dillon eighth, Austin Cindric ninth, AJ Allmendinger in 10th. Denny Hamlin 11th, John Hunter Nemechek in 12th, Todd Gilliland 13th, Riley Herbst 14th, Christopher Bell 15th, 16th for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Kyle Larson 17th, Kyle Busch 18th, Chris Buescher 19th, and Ty Gibbs in 20th. Ryan Prix 21st, Joey Logano 22nd, Chase Elliott 23rd, Alex Bowman 24th, and 25th, Zane Smith. Eric Jones in 26th, Austin Dillon 27th, Carson Hocevar 28th, Daniel Suarez 29th, 30th, Bubba Wallace, Jesse Love in 31st, Cole Custer 32nd, Noah Gragson 33rd, Josh Berry 34th, 35th for Cody Ware, Brad Keselowski 36th, and a transaxle issue with Chase Briscoe pulled him into the garage. He was running third. Now he's last, 6 laps down. I think he's still in the garage area. So very, very tough break there for the 19 team. They were having a pretty solid day before that. He's the only driver that is off the lead lap, let alone out of the race. We haven't had any cautions for incidents so far today. It's been clean and green. 27 laps to go at Circuit of the Americas. We'll take our second to last break before we get into the final pit stops.
I'll think this last lap by Reddick is the one that's gonna, they haven't made the decision for me. Let's look for the 12 to see if it comes. Well, if we're thinking it, you know they are. Now that's yes this time. Okay, I'm ready. Pit road. Now, Reddick come with him.
Well, either way, all the pressure's getting ready to be on the pit crew. Don't make any mistakes. Don't shoot.
You're forward. You're forward. All right, they're both in. The 2 leaders are on pit road. Jamie.
Remember, lady, you got it. They already making the air pressure check.
60 to 70 minutes.
I just wanted to done it right then.
They'll be close enough.
Team telling him to hit pit road. The 45 team of Billy Scott, Prix Billy Scott got on the radio immediately and said, pit, pit, pit. Originally, they were going to go another lap or two, but they wanted to offset with the 12-car pit. As far as the car, he has been silent all day long. Tyler happy.
All right. On pit road.
Oh boy, Blaney.
Wow.
Yeah, they had a little bit of trouble, it looked like, on the right front of Tyler Reddick's car. But if you're Blaney, you want to make this happen quick because you're better than him at the beginning of these runs the last couple times.
I thought Blaney had him.
Team make any adjustments to that car to make it take off any better. Clint.
That was a race off pit road right there.
Right behind him. That was the one that short pitted him. Larry, let's go.
Yeah, I'm not so sure that the 20 car, Adam Stevens, I think they're going to two-stop this thing. We ran 12 laps, they pitted lap 62, possibly will be coming again about lap 74, 75. I think they're doing something totally different.
Now, who's the new leader? Shane Van Gisbergen. Will those 2 pitting draw him to pit road this time? You would think. We'll find out right here.
You're over. I'll be this on.
Yep.
You're over. Down. On the work.
All right, the 97 coming to the attention of Stephen Doran and crew. That will hand the lead to Connor Zilich, who don't, nope, he doesn't stay on the racetrack. He's on pit road as well. Regan.
Mike, as you see the 97 coming all the way down to the far end of pit road right now. On the radio, it's been struggles with the rear lateral grip. They know, in particular, this last run, they said, I just don't have as much as I need, especially early on in the runs.
Tires packed full of fuel, and he's out. As the 45 and 12 go past, just about the time Van Gisbergen exits the pit lane.
Yeah, and a lot of that is, SVG's just that far behind because A was already behind and B waited 1 lap. So they got they got that lap time advantage while he stayed out there.
So here are your leaders, William Byron and Michael McDowell. With Ross Chastain, Austin Cindric, then Reddick, Blaney, and Bell.
Yeah, right here, SVG has to do all he can do to not let that 5 car get by him so he doesn't have to waste time in dirty air and trying to get back by Kyle Larson.
So the first 4 cars, as you see how long it's been since they were on pit road, they're the ones that have not yet pitted in this cycle. Michael McDowell to the point, going past Byron. Larry, if you're one of these 4, how long would you want to run this out?
Well, what we're hearing is thinking about William Byron. He's hitting pit road right now. This is exactly what Rudy Fugel had told him a few laps ago. We're going to go to lap 70 or 71. We're on lap 71.
Now, Michael McDowell's going to stay out. He and Travis Peterson have already used that strategy once this year, staying out when everybody pitted and hoping to capitalize. Reagan?
Well, as William Byron comes down pit road, it's been a number of different things so far this run for him. Took off really good, like how the car was initially. Started to lose the rears, then started to lose the front tires on that 24 car.
Chastain and Cindric in as well. So only McDowell is still out there without yet making this pit stop. Let's get the radio of Michael McDowell and Travis Peterson. Seven or 8 more. That's contrary, but
well, we know
it almost won them today. What?
That's Travis Peterson. What that is.
That is
Gamble. Let's go.
He is a gambler, and
you know that last caution had not come out of Daytona when the Toyotas slowed down the whole pack for so long. McDowell might have made it to the finish without stopping at all, and just might have won the Daytona 500. If ifs and buts were candy and nuts, we'd all have a Merry Christmas.
Even with the caution coming out, he had a shot at it.
Yep.
With 1 to go, there he was.
A lot of gambling.
And Michael's always done a really good job on these road courses and been strong again today.
And that affords you the opportunity to make those gambles because you got a wheelman behind it who can back it up.
However, look at the lap times that we're showing you on the pylon. He is 3 seconds slower than Tyler Reddick right now. All right, 26 of 50 laps complete, 24 to go, 3 seconds, 24 laps. Well, you're going to have to come in and get tires and fuel at some point. So it's not going to hurt you for that long, but it's probably their only shot to win this race.
Yeah.
Ryan Blaney and Tyler Reddick have just been under a blanket this entire race, it seems like. I mean, the entirety of stage 2, stage 3, they've been within a second of each other the entire time. Nobody's going anywhere. Both pitted about 3 to 4 laps ago. 4 laps ago that last time by the line. So 27 to go, they both pitted. And it was very tight race off pit road. They were nearly side by side. Reddick was able to just beat Ryan Blaney out of the pits. The gap was shortened quite a bit, though, because the 12 car was about 1.3 seconds back to get to that point. So shout out to the 12 pit crew for doing a great job there. No speeding penalties to record that I saw on any Fox graphic or any wording there for really anybody in the field, especially of those that are in contention for the race win. Commercial break as of right now on Fox. Top 10 in the running order has Michael McDowell in the lead by 12.8 seconds, but he has not been to pit road yet. That would mean Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney would be the leaders. Blaney is 13.2 seconds back in third. 16.3 back is Christopher Bell in fourth. Shane Van Gisbergen 18.4 back in fifth. Kyle Larson is sixth place at 19.1 seconds out of the lead. Connor Zilic 23.9 seconds back in seventh. Ty Gibbs is 24 seconds off the lead in eighth. Kyle Busch 24.5 back in ninth. Chris Buescher 22.8 back in 10th. So top 10, the intervals between themselves and Michael McDowell. As you heard on McDowell's radio call, they are planning on pitting right around 7 to 8 laps from what would have been 24 to go. So they got about another 5 to 6 laps until they pit. Major Kenneth Windrow, welcome to the stream. If I missed anybody, Patrick Shadley, thanks for tuning in. Good afternoon to you as well. A lot of the usual suspects back for another live commentary stream here today. Greatly appreciate that. We have almost 200 people in the chat, only 86 likes. Be sure to hit that like button if you guys have not done so yet. Original goal was 150, but let's at least get that to 100 at the very least here today. If you have not subscribed, be sure to do so. We had the goal of getting to 7,000 by the end of this stream. At the start of it, we were at 17 away. We are only 5 subscribers shy of 7,000. If you're not subscribed to the channel, definitely do so. This is your place to be for all live NASCAR content every weekend. Commentary for the Cup, O'Reilly, truck races every weekend, as well as practice and qualifying. Next weekend at Phoenix, we are going to be live starting early in the afternoon. I don't know the exact start time. I thought it was originally 4:30, but with the IndyCar race at 3, I think practice and qualifying will be before that. So probably like noonish, somewhere around there, noon, 1 o'clock or so Eastern time. We'll be live for practice and qualifying, and then we won't go live again on Saturday until 7:30, prime time on the East Coast. A later afternoon start, of course, on the West with the O'Reilly Series race. And Cup Series racing on Sunday, same start time that we had today at 3 p.m. Eastern, beginning with our pre-race and into our main event for the weekend. So with McDowell still out on the racetrack, we'll see how things go. Oh boy, Ross Chastain is missing a wheel. Right rear tire is not on that race car anymore. He got out of the gravel pit, staying in the gas somehow. And he's now down in the grass. But the next question is where is that tire? And can he make it back into the pits? Cutting back across the racetrack. He's trying to get out of the way. He is on pit road. Caution flag is out. I would imagine that tire's got to be laying somewhere between turns 19 and 20. I did not realize he was in 19. But caution flag is out. Chastain in the pits. Right rear tire is going to bring out debris. Our first caution for incident today, and it comes with about 21 laps to go.
McDowell really wanted to see if he was going to get this caution. He wanted it to be later, but he is going to have some guys possibly pit middle of this field that short pitted. But I'd say all those guys up front, they're pretty much set.
Oh boy.
Kevin, you got 35 drivers on the lead lap. We're going to probably go back racing with just under 20 laps to go. But you're right, middle of the field on back, they're going to come get full fresh tires. This is not what McDowell wants.
First caution of the day. This is a well-needed break for some of these drivers. I'm telling you.
All right, we got some breaking stories, and Jamie's got a whopper here.
Well, I certainly do, Mike. I've been listening to Alex Bowman, and he's been saying he is sick all race long. He finally just pulled it in.
Oh, wow.
And at the same time, that man right there, Myatt Snyder, is my pit spotter. He's been helping me today. Chad Knaus came up to him and me and said, is it okay if Myatt gets in this race car? I said, absolutely. So here we are. So Alex is out of the car. Myatt now, he races in the O'Reilly series. He's going to get in Alex Bowman's car, try to salvage some points. Strange turn of events here.
Yeah, because the only driver who's out of the race is Chase Briscoe. And here's Bowman's radio from earlier.
Don't do anything. Don't worry, I don't know here. Yeah, you're buddy. Buddy, I don't know about that yet. Like it was a few laps ago, it's your call. It's your call.
So Bowman out, line Snyder in. The man in the white shirt's David Green, a former Busch Series champ who is pretty much NASCAR's safety official in the garage. So NASCAR would have to approve of the driver swap and then supervise this to make sure that all the safety equipment and everything is in place and fitted properly to allow him to get back out on track. So we're under caution with 20 laps to go for the lost wheel on the number 1 car. Well, if you're missing football, here's your answer. The United Football League is back this spring with a new season of real pro football. It's off March 27th on Fox. Larry, is this a caution that race leader Micah McDowell wanted to see or not?
Absolutely not, because again, as I mentioned, Mike, 35 drivers on the lead lap, basically the whole field, they've got to pit. And I feel like a number of drivers, with that many drivers on the lead lap, at the front are going to stand. Middle of the field on back, probably come get full fresh tire.
Well, what do you want, fellas? Tires or track positions?
I'm always looking for tires. I'd overrule them, come to pit road, and most of the time it was the wrong thing to do, but I would.
Today, you need track position. If you're as fast as Reddick, Blaney are. Don't beat yourself here.
Yeah, and I guess I'm referring more to those, I don't know where the breaking point is going to be, but I never wanted to be the last guy on old tires and have everybody behind me. There's not a worse feeling in the world than sitting there 8th or 9th and watching everybody in your mirror pull into pit lane.
Remember that our first 3 races this year will run in very cool temperatures. Snow at Bowman Bray for the Clash. Cold, Florida damp cold, the Daytona 500. And a really chilly Atlanta last week. And here we are in Austin, Texas, turning left and right, shifting 20 to 22 times a lap, and it's 85 degrees out.
Yeah, and on a cool day, it would be a full day's work and make you feel bad as you see Michael McDowell headed to pit road. Christopher Bell, he was running fourth, so we got a bunch of takers.
That's exactly right, Kevin. For full on back, puts pressure on those leaders.
Wow. Remember, the 20 had pitted way early.
Josh.
Well, that's right. 20 had short pitted this stage coming in for the second time in stage number 3. Told the team the longevity of this car was much better on that last run, but said he's still tight in the right turns, loose in the left turns as he stops for that run.
Austin Dillon was blocked getting in his pit. Brad Keselowski overshot his pit. A lot of drama here in the pit lane. All right, we'll sort this out for you when we come back. 19 laps to go.
McDowell wins the race off of pit road for those that pitted. We're going to have to wait a lap for the leaders to get back to the start-finish line to see exactly who all stayed out. Right now, on Fox's leaderboard, McDowell scored in 10th, so that means the top 9 did not pit. Top 9 for the restart did not pit. Which could be good for McDowell. I mean, he was back half of the top 10 anyway. Showing AJ Allmendinger, who had his cool suit fail on him earlier, he is, I think that entire bottle of water just went into his helmet. So he's trying to help cool himself off. It's got to be miserable in there. He doesn't have a temperature gauge in his car, but we've seen hot days like today, 150 degrees plus inside these race cars. And without his cool shirt, that's a struggle. Mentioned earlier about car being hotter on a day like today where there's more brakes being applied. You're using the transmission more. With the shifting on a road course, car automatically just going to get hotter. The engine's going to get hotter. There are no fans. Almost to 100 likes on stream. We're at 95 right now. Be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet. We'll take a break. You're listening live. KRC, full flag-to-flag coverage continues. We've got about 19 laps to go as we're under caution for the first time for incident today. Yeah, SVG and Zilich going to be in row 2 on the restart. And Reddick and Blaney, who have been 1 and 2 for the better part of the back 2/3 of this race. And you want to factor in also that they're all on old tires. This is going to make for an interesting restart. Looking now at Fox's graphic, it looks like 14 cars stayed out. Michael McDowell, who's the first off pit row with 4 fresh Goodyears, he's in 15th. So there is quite a buffer. And the guys who are in the top 4 are probably the 4 fastest cars in general today. So even though they're on older tires, that isn't by that many laps. Reddick and Blaney pitted with 27 to go. And then SVG and Zilich pitted the next lap with 26 laps to go. So relatively even tires between those top 4. And the caution with 21 to go. They really only have anywhere between 5 to 6 lap older tires. I don't think that's going to do a lot. Maybe the first 5 to 6 laps, you're going to see the most of a difference, but they'll end up flatlining out by way of those that pitted. And I think with the 14 cars on track, they should be safe to the end by way of just their pacing.
NASCAR heads west as it's a triple-header weekend, with ARCA kicking things off from Phoenix on Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern on
start time for
FS1,
practice
followed by the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series and Cup Series on Saturday and Sunday.
Oh, night riders. Yes, I ride.
All right, I don't want to get copyrighted for that. Tyler Reddick, current race leader, trying to go for 3 in a row. He's led the most laps today. Can he do it?
These drivers each won the first 2, which would include, of course, the Daytona 500. But of all those drivers, the best finish in the 3rd race of the season, I believe Marvin Patch finished 3rd. Nobody came any closer to winning it. All right, so Reddick is the leader. Ryan Blaney is second. He has been looking at Reddick's back bumper for the last 20 laps, and now he's looking at it again, not happy about it.
That's the same thing that we were talking about up here, that was their best chance. So it sounds like Ryan Blaney felt that way before, but as you see them choose right here, I'm a little bit concerned if I'm these 2 guys, just because of the braking capability of SVG going into the corner. Now you've seen here how
about the guy on his outside?
Yeah, the guy on his outside, Connor Zillich. He's in the game too, and has the speed to keep up with these guys.
Yep, it might be 4 wide in turn 1, honestly.
Is to lead this group under this circumstance to the top of this hill. Do not overdrive this corner, but if you underdrive it, they're going to get you 3 wide and move you out of the way. Yesterday, I believe Van Gisbergen restarted 6th.
That's right. Sam
Mayer was the leader, did everything right, dragged everybody up to the top of the hill. Mayer's going to be that green car. He's going to keep everybody wide. Look at Van Gisbergen in the 9. The blue car way to the inside and away. That's yesterday.
Well, you see Briscoe do that on the start of the race. That's the only one that used enough brake and got his car slowed down.
Yeah.
That's a good ability, but that's the same way this is going to go as we go into turn 1.
I will say the drivers that are in front of SVG today a lot better between Tyler Reddick and Ryan Blaney than that of the O'Reilly Series regulars yesterday. Well, we'll see how this plays out. We're going to have 17 laps to go in the restart. Things are going to be ultra aggressive from here to the finish. It's a new playing field. About 5 to 6 laps on the tires for that of the top 14. Fresher tires slightly on back. Likes of Bell, McDowell, the first of which on 4 fresh Goodyears, back around row 7. Reddick elected the inside for row 1. Blaney on the outside. SVG inside row 2. Connor Zillich outside row 2. Green flag is going to be back in the air. Zillich went a little bit wide out of turn 20, trying to time back to the throttle a little sooner. Didn't work out well for him there, but into braking, we'll see if he can gain that time back. Shane Van Gisbergen trying to block the bottom. A lot of contact with William Byron in the 24, who muscles his way to the middle. Blaney and Reddick still side by side. Not anymore. Into turn 2, it looks like Tyler Reddick will hold clear, but SVG on the move is going to bypass Blaney for second, and he's going after the lead. He has not led a single lap all day today. Trying to go for 6 consecutive road course race wins. Van Gisbergen has not had the long run pace that the 45 and the 12 have had today. But will his road course expertise overshine that? No sign of Connor Zillich in the 88 car. I don't know what happened to him. He restarted in 4th, and he is nowhere inside the top 10. What a tough break for the rookie. He's outside the top 20. What happened to Zillich? Looking at that top 3, and he's just not there anymore. Our leaderboard, Connor Zillich is 14th, so he definitely went wide or something in turn 1. I know he went wide in turn 20, getting back to the green, but he was still at speed. Oh, Zane Smith's got a flat right front tire. He's going to try to get back to pit road. Hopefully there's no tire carcass on the racetrack. Still green for right now. Reddick leads the first lap after the restart. Shane Van Gisbergen within a couple car lengths of him. And then a few more even behind SVG is Ryan Blaney. Zilch went around again. I mean, I believe it, considering he's not in the top 10 anymore. Tough break. Valiant effort. Great speed. He'll be one to watch out for on road courses later this season, that's for sure. Tyler Reddick putting a little bit of a gap between himself and Van Gisbergen. Full-time as a Cup regular and a rookie last year was SVG in the Cup Series, and the only race he did not win on a road course was this one right here at COTA. He hasn't led a single lap today. He did win the O'Reilly race yesterday. And he's as high in the running order as he's been today in second. Some of those on fresher tires by 5 to 6 laps. Christopher Bell, Chase Elliott have worked themselves up to 6th and 7th. Great restart for Denny Hamlin to get up inside the top 5 for the first time in 5th. We haven't really called his name much today. Top 5 in the running order. Reddick leads. SVG 2nd. Ryan Blaney 3rd. William Byron 4th. Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 5 in 5th. Riley Herbst trying to hold on old tires. Michael McDowell will finesse his way around through turns 19 and 20. Yeah, Zane Smith and Connor Zilich went for a spin in turn 1. I saw a couple cars that were sideways back there, but I didn't know that he was one of them. Byron got clipped on the front bumper of Hamlin, came across the track into Zane Smith, and then Smith cleared out the 88 as well. So that's how Zilich went around. Kind of the dangers of being on the outside for turn 1 on a restart here at COTA. Launching later in the restart zone for that of Reddick, who was the control car there, might have caused more of a stack up versus if he had launched earlier in the restart zone before turn 20. Austin Cindric on pit road after significant contact on that last restart, so unscheduled stop for him. Tyler Reddick is putting down some fast laps right now. SVG and Ryan Blaney are unable to keep up with Reddick since the restart. Blaney actually putting a little bit more pressure on SVG for second, as Van Gisbergen might be holding up that 12 car a bit after getting by him on that first lap after the restart. He did a great job out of turn 1, made the pass into turn 2. It's going to be very difficult for Blaney to make this pass because we know that SVG is likely not going to slip a wheel. But the 12 has been outpacing him today. And the longer he stays stuck behind Van Gisbergen, the less likely he is to run down Reddick. Especially with how close in speed that the 45 and the 12 have been all day. Sunshine Coolwater, thanks for tuning in. Chris Gillette, also welcome to the stream. Seems like it's going to be Reddick's season to lose. It could be. We get into a points format where it rewards consistency. Then you got a guy coming out here trying to win the first 3 races of the year when nobody's ever done that before. Oh my goodness. I mean, he's going to have over a full race worth of points lead if he wins this race. After 3 races, that's the insane thing. It's also worth noting we get late into the season never to count anybody out if they're 60 points back with 3 races to go, because you can go out here and win the last 3 races like Reddick is looking to do in the first 3 races, and you're very much in it. Not that that's an easy thing, because only one driver potentially before today has won 3 races consecutively in the next-gen era, but not impossible. We're seeing what kind of a lookout in the point standing that has, and what kind of an effect. Joey Logano got off track just a bit with the right side tires out of turn 6B, and he gets bypassed by at least 3 cars because of it. All that battling going on right around 15th on back. Kyle Busch, who was in the top 10 before that last caution pitted, did not have a good restart. He's now back to 20th. Denny Hamlin trying to survive on the old tires still. He's in 9th. Christopher Bell, the highest in the running order of those that took the fresh tires during the caution. He's in 5th. The lap time for Bell that last lap was a 100.047. That was about 0.6 faster than the leader, Tyler Reddick, on that last lap. And Shane Van Gisbergen and Ryan Blaney also picked the pace up. Oh boy, we've got a spinner. Turn 20. Chris Buescher off of the rookie Jesse Love. Gets back on course, loses a handful of spots. SVG's pace quickens compared to Reddick. I'm sure Blaney's going to be able to do the same and kind of follow him up there. Or if Reddick might have made a mistake somewhere on the track that last lap because he was pulling away pretty quickly. With still 17 laps to go from the restart. If we go green to the end, there is going to be a bit of tire management left in there. Ty Gibbs, who had a fast car today, is the second car in line of those on fresh tires. He is behind Christopher Bell. It is a scrum back around with Logano. They've showed this battle on camera a couple times now. They were 4 wide out of turn 6B, and I think Gillen about got into the tire compact on the outside. Oh boy, Van Gisbergen is closing fast. I don't know that Reddick slipping a wheel as much as it is. The 97 is looking as good, if not better, than he's been all day long. How clutch is Tyler Reddick going to have to be to try to hold off this guy? 12 laps to go in a couple corners. Replay of the Buescher spin. Love tried to block Kyle Busch. Busch got into the back of Love, and that's what knocked Love into Chris Buescher. Buescher goes around and fell from about 16th to 22nd. Another lap later, and they're still beating and banging back there right around 20th. Meanwhile, back at the front with 12 to go, Shane Van Gisbergen only about 3 to 4 car lengths off of Tyler Reddick. Closer he gets, the worse the dirty air is going to be in particular corners on the track, one of which is the Esses that they are going through right now. SVG trying to get as close to those tire compacts as possible through the corners. Same for Reddick. SVG so smooth under braking through turn 6A and B. Gains even more ground. Last lap, SVG was about 3/10 quicker than Reddick. Bell, by the way, got by Byron the last lap for 4th, so don't count Christopher Bell out on the 4 fresh tires. Those have not even out with the leaders yet. He was also 4/10 faster than Reddick. And that was even with making a pass on the 24. Bell trying to win this race 2 years in a row. And he might be the one to beat on speed if the tires can hold up to the end. But in having to pass as many cars as he's had to from back at around 15th on the restart, by the time he gets to the top 2, is he going to have anything left in those tires? Because it was, again, only about a 5 to 6 green flag lap advantage. That's not a lot. But it looks to be more than what I would have thought coming into the restart. I did not think he had a shot at getting to the top 5, especially as quickly as he did. He's all over the back of Blaney for 3rd with 11 to go.
Opportunity. Battle closes on Blaney as they get up to turn number 1. Not close enough for a move. But he's right there on those fresher tires.
Yeah, and I think Bell's, I mean, he's going to get around this 12 car, and then it's just a matter of what kind of lap time can he make in clean air as to whether he catches these front 2. But SVG is right on the 45 of Tyler Reddick right now. And Reddick actually pulls down the block a little bit right there in the 6A.
That's exactly right. Got him looking in the mirror. One little slip on him.
You know, the thing that he knows that SVG can pull these crazy surprise moves on you at any given time.
Thought about it right there. To the inside on Blaney, who has to give him room.
And that's going to put him on the outside through this whole section. He's going to try to shoot back underneath Blaney right here.
Oh, yeah, he's got him.
There he does.
Oh, he muscled him out of the way.
These tires are going to mean something. There's a lot of racing left coming to 10 to go. Christopher Bell to 3rd.
You're right, Clint. 11 laps around this place is a long, long time. When your lap time is a minute 40. So a lot of corners, a lot of shifts, a lot of things that happen. So you're right. Long ways to go still. He's there this time.
Nope, not quite. He lost a little ground out of 20.
Well, he's closer.
He gets right. So I'm going to tell you,
That engine under the hood of that 45's got some steam in it. I've watched him all day long, and it makes it straightaway handling. That 45, yes, that thing really handles down the straight. Absolutely. I know just what you mean. Van Gisbergen, if he's got a move to make, he better not wait because that 20 is closing.
Shane is really good at these S's. He's got a good passing corner coming up. Can he get close enough here?
Gibbs closing on Blaney. Gibbs with fresher tires.
Yeah, those tires are making a massive difference, and I think that is when we come by for this next lap, we're gonna see what kind of pace Bell has without having to make a pass. But Tyler Reddick, he has been flawless in defending this lead so far today.
It has to be. Again, one slip up of that 45 car, and Shane will pounce on him. Not one slip. Fantastic so far. Hit his marks every single time.
I want you to watch these cars go through the S's the next time, Clint, as they go through those S's.
That's Shane's strong suit.
It is, because this is where that street course and all the road racing skill comes together. He's cutting those tire barriers closer. Same thing around the 6 week. He's able to get closer to the wall of the tire packs, and that's where he's making up a lot of this time.
Reddick. Yeah, how about answering that call? Look at that. 140.93 to a 141.10. Reached down and got him some that last lap. Fantastic lap last time by Reddick. Putting it all together. Reddick's got the drive off with the straightaway speed. I think Van Gisbergen's best shot is at the end of the S's, 6 or maybe 6A, where he is able to close up on Reddick, and Reddick unable to use that horsepower advantage that he's got. Back off, get yourself collected here, move your tires down, move your brakes off, and go back after it.
You see it right next to the dirt again, but all that distance that he loses in the other half of the track, he makes up from the exit of turn 1 over to 6B. But he's gonna have to, Riddick's gonna have to make a mistake to just get to a point where he can make something happen in the right spot.
You get close enough to him, you can make him, the closer you work to him, get him looking in the mirror, off lane one time, slip up. I don't know, Clint. Ryan Blaney trailed him for 25 laps, got right to his bumper. Reddick never flinched. Buddy, I didn't pick him for no reason. I think my man can do it. We're going for a record here. Got my boss man back 3 weeks in a row. But I got to hold off the best in the business to do it.
And that'd be the best way to do it. The whole iron rest in the business to do it.
You're going to do it. You earned it, right? He is really good in the places that he needs to be good at. Again, setting him up off of turn 20 there, leading.
Wow.
Kevin, you led to that.
Pulled him so much there.
He drives off from him. Will not let him get close to him where it's dangerous. We could bounce and do a dog bomb pass.
And a lot of that comes from how he can exit turn 20. He's able to get the car rotated, get the angle right off the corner where SVG is having to just ride that car out there on the exit. Shane is able to just lift those barriers so close, and that's what gains it back, but it's the same cycle every lap.
Moving those tire barriers in the S curves, I thought for sure somebody would be in those today to have it happen. Hey, laps to go here. Next weekend, the Desert Double. IndyCar and NASCAR go back to back on Fox at the same track. IndyCar Saturday, NASCAR Sunday. And Saturday, Clint Boyer gets the thrill ride and the fastest seat in sports, the 2-seat IndyCar. That lead them to green. Fox Saturday for IndyCar racing and FS1 Sunday for NASCAR. Join us in Phoenix next weekend. It's like the tires have equaled out in the bell.
Yep.
It's kind of just stalled out right there 3 seconds back.
Yeah, and it looked.
Figured that the tires were going to even out for Christopher Bell and those guys who took 4 fresh Goodyears. It just took a little bit longer into the run than I initially expected, right around like 10 laps or so. I figured with 5 to 6 laps on their tires, it would be 5 to 6 laps before they would even out. But Bell was 2.8 seconds off the lead when he got by Blaney for third. Blaney is continuously still losing positions to those on fresh tires behind him, as did everybody else on the old tires that were also behind the 12. Because Ty Gibbs, Michael McDowell round out the top 5 now, and they're all obviously up there with the fresher of the Goodyears. So Tyler Reddick, our race leader, Shane Van Gisbergen in second, Christopher Bell third, Ty Gibbs is fourth, Michael McDowell in fifth, sixth is Ryan Blaney, Kyle Larson seventh, William Byron in eighth, Chase Elliott ninth, Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 10, AJ Allmendinger in 11th, Bubba Wallace 12th, Joey Logano 13th, Kyle Busch 14th, John Hunter Nemechek in 15th. In 16th place is Ty Dillon, Brad Keselowski 17th, Ryan Preece 18th, Riley Herbst 19th, Todd Gilliland 20th. Connor Zilic 21st after a spin on the restart was in 4th, Noah Gragson 22nd, Austin Dillon 23rd, Carson Hocevar 24th, 25th, Daniel Suarez, Josh Berry 26th, Chris Buescher 27th, Cole Custer 28th, Jesse Love 29th, 30th for Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Cody Ware 31st, 32nd Austin Cindric, Zane Smith, 33rd, is the last car in the lead lap. Then Eric Jones, 2 laps down in 34th. Ross Chastain, 3 laps down in 35th. He had the lone caution of the day with that right rear tire coming off, breaking out the yellow with about 21 laps to go. Alex Bowman subbed out for Myatt Snyder, feeling very ill. 6 laps down, but Snyder is behind the wheel of the 48 now. And Chase Briscoe with a transaxle failure out of the race. 27 laps ago that happened. He's in last, was running third at the time of the break. So that's an update to where we are right now. 14 lead changes, 3 cautions, only 1 for incident. That was in stage 3. And then the 2 stage breaks at lap 20 and lap 45. 10 laps of yellow total. We're down to about 5.5 laps to go. The lead has been stretched out by Reddick, 1.3 seconds ahead of Shane Van Gisbergen, and he's still pulling Christopher Bell now, who is about 3.2 seconds off the lead in third. And 5 seconds back to Ty Gibbs in fourth. Chase Elliott looking to make a pass on his Hendrick teammate William Byron for 8th place. I believe Byron on older tires than that of Elliott. Blaney looked like he went wide out of turn 6B at his right side's off into the grass. Kyle Larson in the 5. All over his tail in a battle for 6th. Van Gisbergen put a lot of pressure on Tyler Reddick, but Reddick has really done a great job of pulling away the last few laps to get to where he's at right now and a much more comfortable lead. Over-under move, Larson on Blaney. Larson kind of runs that 12th car wide. That didn't work out well for him, though. They're still side by side. And they'll run tightly together before Larson is nearly clear. 12 is still hanging in. On the outside through turn 19. Surprised he was able to do that. Turn 20. Try an over-under move, but I don't think he's got the grip to be able to pull that off and get alongside Larson. So Larson will be clear for 6th. Maybe it's time to check the motor on the 45. I mean, there's been a couple times that he just pulled SVG down the straightaways. What an insane win this would be for Tyler Reddick. Without another caution, I don't see him losing. He's the fastest car on racetrack again. He's dominated this race. All attempts and purposes. I know with having to flip the stage on points, with this being a road course, he didn't win any stages today. But 53 laps led out of 91 so far, over half the race. And looking to make history to become the first driver to ever win 3 races to start the season. Started on pole. He did not look great back in stage 1. Massive adjustments to that race car, and this car came to life early in stage 2 when he got his track position back, flipping the stage when others in front of him didn't. He fell back to about 7th to 8th place. In stage 1, he didn't even lead the opening lap of the race despite being the pole sitter. Definitely struggled in traffic, but one way to fix struggling in traffic is having clean air, and he's pretty much had it the entire rest of the way since. So he may still struggle in traffic if he wasn't in the lead, but we haven't seen that. And now For Tyler Reddick, he's just 4 laps away from winning. He has not won more than 3 races in a season in his Cup career. He was a rookie back in 2020. So it'd be very fitting that he would tie a career high in wins in a season in just the first 3 races of the year. How many more is he going to be able to win? Thank you to all watching right now. We got over 200 people in the chat. Down the lake going, 102 likes. We did get to at least 100 likes on stream today. So again, thank you so much for that. Subscribe if you are new. We're still 3 away from 7,000 on the channel. So we try to get to that milestone marker by the end of the stream. Back on the battle to the front. 2-second lead stretched out now for Reddick. Obviously the largest that lead has been since the restart with 17 laps to go. He's just trying to get to the white flag at this point. There's been a legitimate wreck that has caused a caution. Again, that right rear tire coming off of Chastain's car, the only yellow so far. Last lap, Reddick ran a 101.665 to SVG's 102.307. 7/10 of a second faster. Christopher Bell ran his fastest lap of the race, trying to charge through the field, lap 82. It was the second fastest lap of the race overall, 3rd fastest. Reddick still has the fastest lap as well, 93.933. Nobody has ran. Oh, no, never mind. Kyle Larson had a faster lap, looking down at it. Lap 67. Larson ran a 99.761. 1 lap has been ran faster than Reddick so far today, and that was by Kyle Larson. But the speed has been there all day long. I'm looking back on it. Chastain, 99.68, put together the fastest lap of the race. Back at 35th. I think that car got cheated up to run that lap. I have a feeling, being 2 laps down after the right rear tire comes off, there's no way he would be able to run that quick. He's got nothing to lose at this point. Three seconds and growing. So as far back as Blaney's been in the running order today, back in 7th in this last charge to the finish. He's still a little over a second ahead of Chase Elliott, who's in 8th place, next position behind him. Looking at battles that could potentially happen in the top 10. In these final laps, Denny Hamlin and AJ Allmendinger within about half a second of each other for 9th. And that's the closest battle right now inside the top 10. Christopher Bell starting to slightly run down Shane Van Gisbergen, who's used his stuff up, but only 2 laps to try to get to him. It's going to be tough. It's about 1.3 seconds behind SVG. With the top 2 running right now, history would be made between both of them if they were to go to victory lane today. We talked about Reddick, obviously, and then earlier in the stream about Shane Van Gisbergen trying to go for a 6th straight road course race win, which would tie Jeff Gordon for the most all time, but that looks like it might get reset back to 0. The streak will start now with Tyler Reddick having won. Tyler Reddick has won 3 road course races in the next-gen era, tied for the most of any driver that is not Shane Van Gisbergen. Looking for his 4th today, but it's been a couple years since his last one, which would have came at this racetrack in 2023. Winning the Daytona 500 might have just opened up the floodgates for this 45 bunch. Stay tuned in after the checkered flag flies. You'll get to hear a victory interview from our winner today. And then I'll have the start times for next week's stream. We'll go through the full field finishing order and race statistics. Out of turn 20, white flag in the air, 1 lap to go. If caution were to come out now, the race would be over. So Tyler Reddick with a nearly 4-second lead can coast it pretty much at this point to make that history. Finn Gisbergen a little less than a second ahead of Bell, who's closing fast for second place. Could be the tightest battle right now, definitely within the top 5. On this final lap is the battle for second. What a start to 2026 for Reddick. Unfathomable. Oh, we got a crash somewhere on the track. Carson Hocevar's around. That was on the main straightaway. That's quite a ways down. He's back going in the right direction again. We're going to stay green, it looks like, as he drives away. Interested to see how that ended up happening. Somebody get their comeuppance on Carson Hocevar, maybe? Couple more turns. Tyler Reddick. Turn 19, headed for 20. 3 in a row to start the 2026 season. Checkered flag in the air. Tyler Reddick wins at Circuit of the Americas. NASCAR history is made today in the DuraMax Texas Grand Prix. Unbelievable. He can win on a fast oval like Daytona and Atlanta in the draft. He can win on a road course. We'll see how he does on a shorter flat oval next week at Phoenix, but celebration for another Sunday night, 3 weeks in a row for Reddick. In 23-11 Racing, a team that debuted just 5 years ago. Nonetheless, Tyler Reddick, a driver who went winless last season, still made it to the round of 8 in the playoffs, was very consistent, but that consistency is now turning into wins and at a rapid rate. 3.9 second margin of victory for Reddick. He leads the most laps in today's race. 58 laps led out of 95. 14 lead changes, 3 cautions, 2 hours, 58 minutes, and 50 seconds total time on the race. 1 caution for incident, 3 total, obviously with the 2 stage breaks. The 1 incident was Chastain in stage 3. 10 laps spent under caution. Stage winners today, oddly enough, Ross Chastain won stage 1, Ty Gibbs won stage 2. Burnouts for Reddick. Looks like he's starting up by turn 1 right now. So that's going on. We will go through the full field finishing order. Tyler Reddick with the race win. Shane Van Gisbergen in second. Christopher Bell third. Ty Gibbs fourth. Michael McDowell in fifth. Kyle Larson sixth. Chase Elliott seventh. Hold on to that. We got to get an interview with Michael Jordan, of course, first.
By your team today.
It's time for change. Time for change. And the guys feel the same thing. And, Tyler came in with most pressure. I guess everybody expected him, or he had a chance to win 3 in a row. That's the hardest one to win, And he kept to his strategy, and man, the guys put together a great card, man. And I think Billy did an unbelievable job in calling the games, calling the race, and Tyler did a good job. He beat good competition. I mean, you see SPG coming back there, you get a little nervous, but I think he had him covered pretty much the whole day.
Michael, the records, the wins, the trophies, what does this all mean to you as a team owner here in this sport?
Well, I'm proud of the team that we put together. I mean, Denny, I'm pretty sure it's the same, man. He feels the same way as I do, man. I think a lot of credit goes to him because I think he's the mastermind behind finding Tyler and putting together, Billy Scott and all that. Look, I just put up the money. I'm not the competitor, but I think Denny's done an unbelievable job in terms of helping build this team, and I think the team has done a good job in just taking our leadership and going out and winning. That's what it's about, winning.
So we're going to see your Phoenix?
I'll be in Phoenix. How about that?
Once again, Tyler Reddick with the race win. Shane Van Gisbergen in second. Christopher Bell third. Ty Gibbs fourth. And rounding out the top 5 in fifth, Michael McDowell. Kyle Larson in sixth. Chase Elliott seventh. Ryan Blaney fell to eighth. AJ Allmendinger ninth. Denny Hamlin rounds out the top 10. Bubba Wallace in 11th. Kyle Busch in 12th. William Byron 13th. Connor Zilic still came back to finish 14th after a spin on that final restart. Joey Logano in 15th. Ty Dillon 16th, John Hunter Nemechek 17th, Ryan Preece 18th, Austin Dillon 19th, Brad Keselowski in 20th. Great recovery for Brad despite having a driver on standby for him earlier today. He was running about 35th, so got 15 positions in the back half of that race. Todd Gillen in 21st, Noah Gragson 22nd, Riley Herbst 23rd, Chris Buescher 24th, Daniel Suarez in 25th, Josh Berry 26th, Jesse Love 27th, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. 28th, Cole Custer 29th, and Cody Ware 30th. Carson Hocevar, 31st. 32nd for Austin Cindric. Zane Smith, 33rd. Eric Jones, 34th, 2 laps down. Same for Ross Chastain in 35th. Alex Bowman subbed out by Myatt Snyder because of illness earlier, finishing 6 laps down in 36. Bowman does still get the points for starting the race. And a DNF for Briscoe, the only DNF of the race, transaxle failure. He was running third at the time. 33 cars again finish on the lead lap. Here is your race winner, Tyler Reddick, celebratory on the front stretch at Circuit of the Americas.
It's good.
What?
Tyler Reddick gets to celebrate making history in NASCAR, celebrating with the family, celebrating with team co-owner Michael Jordan, and of course, his kids, Tyler. No one has ever won 3 races to start a year. You make history here today. What does that mean to you?
It means the world. Yeah, it's so fitting. We get going at the end there, and I'm leading, and there's SVG, the guy I've been trying to beat for a while now, and just to be able to outlast him there and hold on for the win is it's incredible. We just really proud of the Showman Casino Toyota Camry. Everyone at 2311. We worked really hard. We did not like getting beat like that at road courses, and it's one race, but it was so important. So fitting that we're able to get 3 in a row and make history.
Bring me through those final laps, because you talk about being able to hold out SVG, who's one of the best to do it on road courses. What were the nerves like, and what were you telling yourself in that moment?
Yeah, just trying to remember everything that I knew was going to be important there at the end, and just trying to minimize the mistakes. Shane is that's what he's so good at, man. He does not make mistakes, and I certainly made a couple, and just doing everything I could to just manage the gap and just stay away from him, if you know what I mean. If I let him get close enough, it was going to be probably hard to hold him off.
Tyler Reddick with a 3-peat to start the year.
Unbelievable. Just the start of the year. We got 33 races to go. How many more is he going to win? Well, we'll see you again back next week at Phoenix. Tyler Reddick show continues. This is insane to see what we have seen in these first few weeks of the season. Who would have thought after Daytona this would only continue a couple of weeks later? It's the month of March, and he's still winning. Thanks for everybody that has tuned in throughout the course of today's live commentary stream. Just over 110 likes. Appreciate that so much. Helps the channel out a ton, so be sure to hit the like button if you haven't done so yet on the way out. Subscribe for more NASCAR content along the way. We're still 2 subscribers away from 7,000. So be sure to hit that subscribe button as well. Helps out. Appreciate, again, all of you tuning in. And a late notice, obviously, on today's stream as well this weekend as a whole. But we'll be back again next week at Phoenix. Truck Series will be off, so just 3 streams next week. Practice and qualifying for the Cup Series. I'm not able to find exactly where the start time is for that. I would imagine it's going to be early afternoon Eastern time, so late morning on the West Coast out in Phoenix, Arizona. And as far as the start time for the O'Reilly race, that will be 7:30 p.m. Eastern for Saturday night. Will be the next race live commentary stream. And for the Cup Series next Sunday, we'll be live right here, 3 p.m. Eastern. I believe it will be the first race on Fox Sports 1 off of the big local Fox network. So it's a Fox Sports 1 secondary channel for next Sunday's afternoon's race. So thank you all so much. Congrats again to Tyler Reddick, 3 in a row. 2311 Racing, Michael Jordan, Denny Hamlin, and others. And thank you to all tuning in again today. Have a good rest of your Sunday night, everybody. I'll see you again next week.